Unraveling these mysteries. Stay a while and share your thoughts. Help us break down this mystery. Grab a seat. We guarantee you're in wonderful company. Unraveling these mysteries with Mr. and Mrs. E. Unraveling these mysteries with Mr. and Mrs. E. Mrs. E. Mrs. E.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Mr. E Crimecast. I am Mr. E. I'm joined by Mrs. E. And, of course, our guest, Auntie. How is everybody doing tonight?
I'm great. How are you guys?
We're doing great. It's been a little while for us. We we had a lot going on, and of course, a ton has happened over the last few days in regards to the Sebastian Rogers story. So much I don't even know how we're going to do all this tonight. There's really a lot to discuss here, of course. So I'd like to welcome everybody in here. Got a huge group coming in already. Thank you, K-Mac, one of our mods, for being here tonight. Lady T, who did our intro music. I think you've got some fans. I saw in the chat earlier some people enjoy that music. I find myself humming it all day also, actually. So I'm with you on that.
Looks like we've got Car Guy. Hi, Car Guy. Welcome. And Susan Brewer. Hello. Just Ice for Innocent. Welcome. Let's see.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm so bad at the names. HM Hands. Hello. Welcome. Nice to see you.
Yeah.
Closer to you, Donna. Hello. How are you? Welcome. Veronica Be True. Welcome. Welcome. Victoria Burgess, new here. Michelle Stewart. Rubicon, welcome. Crime Dogs. Yes, welcome to our members. Welcome to our subscribers. And welcome to our new friends. Let's see. Who else? Oh, and here's Olivia B. Olivia
Hi,
B.
Olivia.
is our original moderator. She's an amazing person. She has a channel of her own that I would like to mention.
And Olivia knows she has, anytime she'd like to drop that link, that's great. She does a great job over there. And she's been wonderful to us. So we highly recommend checking it out.
Oh, and look at Marlena Cantu. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Oh, and there's our buddy Charlene Haggerty. And let's see. You might catch our son with autism is pretty happy tonight. So
Yeah,
he's a little bit giddy.
He's been laughing and having a good time tonight. So,
yes. I want to say hi to some more people. Camille Small. Kimberly Jerome, her first live with us. Awesome. Mullins Girls. SS Butterfly Kisses. Welcome back.
Yeah, it's good to see you.
Lucy. Oh, okay. Yeah, you caught me.
The gnats are back.
The gnats are back. I don't know what to do, guys. We've tried everything.
We're just gonna have to bug bomb the house and just leave for a week or whatever.
I think so. Let's see. Let's see. You want to help me, Angie?
Yeah, Purple World.
Yes, we've got some Helen from Northern Utah. Mullins Girls, her first live. Welcome. Hi, Robin. Justice Forino. I like that. That's kind of cool. Honesty Prevails. One of our members. Hello. Sidley. Welcome. SRK9 Mom. Hello. We're so glad that so many of you have joined us tonight. Closer to you, Donna. Welcome.
Honesty Prevails. Did you do that one? Hello.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
So I know we've got a ton of new folks here tonight because the last time we did a live, unbelievable the response we've been getting. We have, I think we've got like 900 new subscribers since the last time.
HM Hands is a new member.
Oh, thank you, HM Hands. Thanks for being on
Welcome.
there.
Oh, well, we've got to do the thing real quick. Sorry.
Oh, yeah.
I get in trouble for interrupting Mystery all the time. But when we have a new member, we celebrate it. And first we do confetti burst. Welcome, HM.
Thank you, HM Hands.
And then we do our welcome to Mystery's crime crew. I need to change that to crime dogs because when I made that, we were not crime dogs, I think.
I've decided.
Yes. Well, welcome. Thank you so much. That's so kind of you.
Yeah, thank you very much. And
actually, we're going to, I think, last minute, I think we might be doing the trivia tomorrow because Mr. E has to work the rest of the weekend, or we'll have to push it to September. But we were really hoping to have it, once a month. So it's likely to be tomorrow.
Yeah, I think we're looking at tomorrow night. If you want to do we do this basically for our members as a reward to them. We're going to do every month a true crime.
Tell them your idea
night,
like what you want the questions to be about.
Oh, do you want to give away kind of the topic overall?
Yeah.
So I think tomorrow night we were thinking we're going to do true crime in film and television.
Ooh.
Topic. So
true crime in film and television.
Yes. So
and film and television.
Oh, and I suppose. Yeah.
No, it would be true crime theme
in
television and movies.
Gotcha.
Oh, right.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Also, I want to say, I see this all the time. Marlena, every time I'm in a chat somewhere, she is the sweetest person in the world. She is one of Justin's moderators. I believe she might be
is that right?
One of Brittany's moderators. And she's always sharing us. And we appreciate you so much, Marlena. We really do.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I've seen this from lots of folks, actually, especially in the last couple of weeks. Several of you are mentioning us favorably in various platforms. And we really appreciate that. That is so awesome of you guys to do. And so just want to welcome also all the new subscribers that came in that have been finding us recently. We appreciate you being here.
One more. And Breezy, I got your email.
Hi,
your email is crazy generous. I'll reply back to it. So thank you.
I don't know this email, I guess.
Well, I mean, she did it through email, so maybe it's not, maybe we don't need to share.
Right. I just think we haven't talked, I guess.
Yes. Okay. Sorry about that. All right.
But welcome in, Breezy. Thank you very much for being here.
Left my DNA so I don't go missing. You know who that reminds me of? Go ahead.
Yeah. So just to kind of give you tonight, we do kind of have a plan. Of course, we always try to have a plan of where we're going to go with each live stream. We have really two main topics. We're going to Mrs. E and I were both at the Vigil on Saturday. So we're going to talk about what that experience was like, meeting all the people, just kind of how the whole event went that way. And then, of course, the big news is going to be we're going to talk about this $50,000 reward. But before we do any of that, we definitely want to, if you haven't heard the news, I think most of you probably have. But Dolly from Dolly Vision had a pretty serious heart attack. I guess Sunday maybe or early Monday. And was in the ICU. And so we definitely want to.
He's out now.
Oh, is he?
Yes.
Is he out?
So the prayers are working.
Just today, I think. This afternoon.
So is he in the hospital or is he home?
He's in the hospital, but he's out of ICU.
Oh, well, that's great.
It's wonderful news.
Very good. So let's continue praying for him and make sure he has a nice, speedy recovery. If you're not familiar with Dolly, of course, he has a true crime channel, very popular. And so I remember the first time that I saw Dolly. It was just a couple of, 2 or 3 months ago, maybe, or so.
Feels like we've been doing this half our life, but it's only been a few months.
Maybe 3 months ago.
Yeah.
Mrs. E listens to more of the YouTube channels than I do. And she was sat on the porch. She's like, you got to listen to this and check it out. And I did not know what to think of it. It was unlike anything I'd ever seen. I didn't even know that. Even know that call-in shows existed or these live streams on true crime. That was all new to me. And you see this guy, with the phone number and the where's the baby and clean soap and all this. I was like, what am I watching here? And I didn't know what to think of it. And but a very funny guy. But
it grows on you.
It absolutely, it does. It's one of the things I think about, like with him, he's very, very popular, and
he's a great showman.
Yeah, definitely. And I think the key for him is that joy just comes through the channel. You can feel the happiness from him, and it's infectious. And I think that's why people are so drawn to him, is just that positive kind of energy. And so anyway, enjoy listening to him. Also a great show to just check out. If you kinda wanna
PJ says they're home now. Whoop, whoop.
Yeah, this afternoon, that's what I was talking about. This afternoon, they went home, and I think they're already started a food train for him. They heard several people.
Wow. I mean, what kind of miracle is modern medicine that he can already be home?
Yeah,
I know.
Crazy.
well, good for him. That's great. You go to the ICU. You don't ever hear that. So good that he's back home, and I'm sure that first show back for him will be a lot of fun.
Well, but continued prayers for Dolly.
But definitely.
Absolutely. Speedy recovery.
But you were going to, I interrupted you about Dolly, but you were going to talk about how how we didn't expect to be where we are and all this different stuff. Do you remember that?
I'm not sure.
Well, you said it on the porch this afternoon. So
yeah. So we, well, no, yeah. So I guess this is just about, I guess what you're talking about is just how fast this is happening for this channel here and us. And we, we've had such great response. So many of you are understanding what we're trying to do here, and are appreciating our approach to this. And we're very grateful for that. Never would have dreamt we'd have this many folks checking in on our videos and all of that. And so we thought at this point we'd probably be talking to 50 people
if we were lucky,
10 people, that kind of thing, 3 months in. And so anyway, we're glad that you are appreciating what we're doing, and we'll continue to keep trying to get better. We're learning as we go here, and hopefully we keep getting better and better with it. That's the goal there. I also want to mention.
Oh, there's a dog outside. Hold on, let me mute this. Auntie, feel free to talk.
Rogue, welcome in tonight. Got some more people joining us. Lucy, thank you for being with us tonight. One of our members, and Rogue's one of our members. Yeah, the crime dogs are fighting crime as you live and in real time. My crime dog has had a terrible day. She is not happy. She is, I don't know what the deal is with her. She just does not feel good. She likes to hunt lizards. And I think she may have eaten a lizard because she has not eaten the rest of the day. So we don't know what's wrong with my crime dog. She's not well. And I'm just sitting here looking at her over on my couch, and she's so sad. But hopefully she'll get better soon. She won't eat anything. Marlene Cantu, she says, that's very scary. I have 2 clots in my heart, and I'm seeing a cardiologist, a pulmonologist, a rheumatologist, and my doctor. So yes, take care of your body, she said.
Absolutely. Sorry about that, guys. There was a German Shepherd outside walking down the street.
Yeah, we have that's our best security is the dogs there. Nobody can step on this, the path here without them going nuts. But so anyway, just absolutely keep Dolly in your prayers there, and just the speedy recovery. We definitely hope the best for him. And because we do have so many new folks that are finding the channel, just want to do if you're not quite sure what we're about or what our goals and intentions are, we just want to kind of remind everyone that we got into this really because of the Sebastian Rogers disappearance. We are local to the county. We have a child with autism. When he went missing back in February, we became very invested in the story. Over time, we started to have suspicions that this was not just a runaway, which is what we believed at first, where he, was a child with autism. In many of these stories where they wander off and end up in water and those kinds of things, that was our fear initially. And then, of course, with the actions of the parents and new information, we all, I think, have had various suspicions about what might be going on. And then eventually, Mrs. E and I just continue to have these various conversations and theories, and really didn't feel like there was a place out there that was having that type of conversations we were wanting to have. And so we just thought we'd start our own true crime channel. And so we did. And
Then Auntie horned in on it. We can't get rid of her.
Auntie jumped in there, and it's been
No,
it's
she
been very
enjoys
interesting.
talking
I
about
know.
it as much as we do, and we realized that pretty quickly. So
Oh yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's just hard to talk over the phone every day and to catch up unless I'm visiting. It's just really hard to get it all in.
It's been more time consuming than you might think it would
Oh
be.
yeah.
Ready for each live, because you do have to be sort of up to date on a lot of the big stories and things like that happening.
I want to acknowledge SS Butterflies telling a lizard story.
Okay, SS Butterfly Kisses says, "Oh my goodness, the other day our dog brought a lizard into the house. We didn't realize it until later when we saw it running around. Luckily, it was safe and I put it outside."
Well, that happened to us. I lifted up a towel the other day. I'm pretty sure the dog brought one in, a baby one, and I lifted up the towel and it had a big scare. I had to have Mr. E come get it. So, because I'm not dealing with lizards. So
Now Charlie hasn't brought any in, but boy, she chases them, and I think that's what made her sick today. I think she got a hold of a little one, and she has not eaten all day.
did she eat it? I missed that.
We don't know. She kind of threw up a little vial, but nothing like of any volume, just liquid, and then she won't eat. So I don't know what's going on because she has specific food she eats, but something's upset her stomach.
Are you going to take her to the vet?
Nah, I'll give her a day or two. If she eats tomorrow and back to normal, I won't. But yeah, she's just, and it was thundering here today, and it just thunder just kind of sets her off, and I don't know.
Well, prayers for Charlie too.
Thank you.
You know, I love Charlie. Also, Breezy was talking about some lizards as well. Her dog loves lizards as well. So I guess it's a common thing.
Cats and dogs love lizards for some reason. I guess because they're fast and they're little. And
well, Brownie ate one when we were all on vacation once. Oh wait, no, you weren't on that vacation. Yeah, Brownie ate one towards
took a limb off of one.
Took a limb off of one. We were worried she was going to get sick. So, but look,
little E was like, "Oh, is that lizard going to live?" And, yeah, I think so.
Yeah. They can actually grow some of their appendages back. So maybe.
Look at this. Not only is she the most amazing moderator and buddy in the whole world, she just gifted 5 memberships.
That is awesome, Lady Tit for Tat. Very, very nice of you. And just in time for the trivia night tomorrow.
Yeah.
So if you got that membership in today, then you'll be able to play tomorrow night if you want to join us for that. And we had a lot of fun the first time we did it, so we're just gonna keep continuing with that.
Well, if you got a membership from Lady Tit for Tat, please say thank you and give her a virtual hug. That was very sweet of her, and she didn't have to do that, but we do appreciate it. And I also, before you get started, and everybody's like, oh, everybody gets mad when I delay, but I try to acknowledge everybody. So welcome and thank you, Lady Tit for Tat. You get confetti bursts and stars. And heck, we'll just go ahead and give balloons. Balloons are normally for our birthdays, but we'll just do that as well. And we'll do our quick welcome. And our not so quick thank you. It's almost there. Thank you, Lady Tit for Tat. You're very sweet.
And then Tiffany has a question to kind of start us off. I don't know if we want to address it now or later, but she has a good question.
Do you want to star it? And maybe we can come back.
I'll star it because we're not really into it yet. I got it started already, but Tiffany, we will try to come back to that.
Okay, I missed the question, so I don't know if it's what I think. Just before we get into this, though, because there are just so many new people joining us every week or so, just so you know, our approach to this true crime, whether it's Sebastian or any other stories we are covering, is just that we are trying to approach this from a fact-based approach. So we ignore all rumors, even other sources, if they're sources we view as weak, like if they are a single anonymous source that we can't vet or verify. That's the kind of stuff we usually don't factor in. We are a place where we don't have like an agenda or a story we're trying to sell. So we are open-minded. We've changed our opinions and theories about a number of things. We are really just seeking truth, whether it confirms a previous theory we had or denies it. Whatever the truth is, we just want this kid found. If we can't find Sebastian, then we want to find justice for him. Really is the whole goal in our approach for Sebastian Rogers' case. And there's been, of course, a lot of great news and developments, and so I think we're getting closer and closer potentially. AMC 52, thank you so much for the super chat there. We appreciate that. Always nice. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
That's
very sweet of you to think of us.
Yes, that is very nice of you. Aside from that, another goal of our channel is to be drama free. So the way we approach this is we do speak of other creators, but only if we are if we are have something nice to say. We will be complimentary. We'll always be kind to creators when they come in here to us and are respectful with us, and if or just simply neutral. Like a lot of times, a creator might just be a source of information, and we might recommend checking out their channel and let you know where that source came from. We won't be attacking creators here. That at least that's our goal. Of course, we're human. Maybe there could be a time where we slip up, but that's not what we're going to try to do. We are really interested in being a true crime channel and not a channel that just criticizes other creators. Most everyone that has been finding us that's usually the feedback we get. That's one of the top few things people mention to us. Is how much they appreciate that. So we want to continue to make this a place that really focuses on the cases, the victims, the theory, solutions. Yes.
Can I add something? And I also want our chat to feel safe, to talk about things as long as you're doing it in a respectful manner.
Yes.
And we don't want you, being hateful to each other or to other creators in our chat. As long as, we don't have all the answers. We don't know everything. We have theories, and we don't mind those theories being challenged as long as it's done in a kind and respectful way.
Sure. I mean, you may have come across information that's out there that's different from what we have found. I mean, there's a ton of folks investigating this case and doing digs in various areas all the time. We're going to mention, I think, some of them tonight. Some of the really interesting stuff from some other creators, and then we also. In between these lives, we try to seek out smart people that know more than us, that have experience that we don't have, and we try to, to find answers to questions we have that way too. So we're going to be doing some of that tonight as well. So let's talk about Okay,
two things. Can you guys hear Big E making all the noise, or is it just us? Okay, you guys can hear it. Okay,
a little bit, just background noise.
We're really happy tonight. I mean, but that's better than the alternative. Yes. So I apologize in advance if you're hearing that.
But at least he's happy.
And then one more thing, Garrett snuck in here. Hi, Garrett. Nice to see you. And then Charlene is going to the cardiologist tomorrow. It's a checkup, but we prayers for Charlene. She is one of our biggest supporters, and we totally appreciate her very much. And there's some other people that have come in. Trish, she's come in, some other people. But before we get started, oh, Cheryl, that's so nice. Thank you.
Thank you.
Go ahead and get started. I'll stop talking because everybody fusses at me for interrupting you, but I just like to acknowledge you guys. And I just want everybody to know it's a safe place. It's a safe place to give your thoughts and ideas. That was my point. And we're not going to scream at you and tell you you're wrong and stupid.
Right. It's completely okay to disagree.
What was that noise?
A vehicle.
Oh, wow. That was loud.
I think a motorcycle went by. So yeah, disagreeing with us is completely fine. We're just all respectful with each other. We brainstorm live on the show sometimes. When occasionally we've had people introduce a theory that we haven't really quite considered, and we try to sometimes work it out live on the show. And if we can't do it there, then we do it off air and come back.
What's funny is oftentimes we will go after the show's over, and we'll talk on the phone for an hour. We'll call Auntie and talk to her for an hour to finish our thoughts, because we go 3 hours and then we're not quite done yet.
We'll get ideas for what the next for the next show, and we're not even done. We're just finishing up this one. So
hi to Lana. Hi, Lana. Welcome back. Sorry, go on.
That's okay. We're gonna have to get into it.
I know. I'm sorry.
So first, let's get into I think a lot of you would probably be interested in kind of how the rally and the vigil all went. I know a lot of you reached out to us and wanted to go, wished you could. Several of you actually offered to buy shirts for people that couldn't go, or those kinds of things. And But so I mean, there were people that drove from all over the country to attend this rally. So that there was a lot of really great things about it. So just from our perspective, we did get there late, which is kind of our style. But there was a car accident on I-24, so we were delayed by about 45 minutes with that. We got there.
We missed the ride.
Yeah, so the ride was still out when we got there, and I don't really know what I expected from the vigil and the rally and everything, but it was better than my expectations. I don't know if you all saw the video that Mrs. E put out on Sunday. I think she at the beginning of it, it shows the table as you walk into the brewery there. And,
I could probably show that content without the creator striking us.
You don't think we'll strike ourselves?
No.
Yes, if you want to show it, that's
I'll
great.
grab it while you're talking. Go ahead.
But it was beautiful. It was all green. They did all these like handmade little green ribbons that you could put on. They had all the flyers and some of those. Like
I'll probably
yard
mute the
signs.
music and stuff, but is that
Sure.
okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead.
And,
I'm still working on it.
Yeah. So they had the volunteers. I don't know who put that all together and did that, but it was really cool. And
Sorry.
so that was kind of there right when you walk in, and the Fallen Brewery there in Clarksville. It's like a veteran run brewery and kind of like a warehouse, and very, very family friendly. Actually, they had tons of games and stuff. So we had brought our oldest son, the one with our son with autism,
Big E.
Big E, we call him here. And so he had a great time, and they had all the dogs laying around from Michaela's Mutt Motel. And I think they had 7 or 8 different dogs there. You could come up and pet them, and each one kind of had somebody handling the dog. And our son was able to go up there and kind of play with the dogs and walk around.
I'm going to play it while you're talking, just so people can see it. You keep talking.
Yeah. So then, we were there when the bikes come back, and a lot of the vehicles, they had, all these Sebastian Strong stuff painted. Lots of folks were wearing, everybody was dressed in green pretty much.
We got little green ribbons.
Yeah.
See
Yes.
those?
They had those to give out. We had, of course, if you didn't see the shirts, these were the shirts that you would get if you donated.
They're so cute.
Yeah. And they
Do you have the bracelet?
Sponsors and things in the back. Yeah, so I do have the bracelet somewhere.
Okay.
And then you also got the bracelet. This is different from the one I had seen before.
You'll have to hold it up to your
Yeah,
camera.
I'll do like that. If you can't. So
That's pretty.
on the back it says hashtag Team Sebastian. I can't even read. Bring Sebastian home. And it's got like the little dragon logo.
And there's the shirt on the screen right now.
Oh yeah, the little ribbon there.
The shirt's really soft. It's like the kind of like an Under Armour type. It's not Under Armour, but it's that type.
Moisture
And they
wicking.
had signs and flyers that you could take as many as you wanted. And then there's the Michaela's Mutt Motel stuff. We did not want another dog, so we steered clear of them.
No kidding. We don't need any more puppies.
Yeah, so the shirt was really good quality and everything too, and the event was a success in many ways. The Mutt Motel, they I don't know if you all have heard this or not, but 3 dogs were adopted from that.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, so that was awesome. So that was great to see. Folks had their like handmade kind of shirts, several of them with like their own messages or just like pictures of Sebastian all over. Tons of love and support for him. If I were to describe the vibe, I would say it was kind of like a hopeful type of feel, but of course there was also just a little bit of a sadness to it too. Kind of a combination of both in a weird way.
People were trying to be in good spirits, I think.
Yes. Yeah. So people were great. It was great meeting everyone. We met several people that knew us.
That was fun.
That was funny because you don't really think anybody knows who we are through this. You're not expecting, and then someone would say, "Mr. E," and then they, and it's like, "Hi, okay," and then we talk about the channel and that kind of thing, and met several folks that way. That was really a lot of fun. It was great.
Car guy was there.
Yeah,
and his
Car
wife
guy was one of. it was fun to get the firsthand like feedback, and that kind of thing of people, what they like, what they didn't like, and that type of thing. And so that was a lot of fun. And so if you ever see me out in public, at the store or at an event like this, absolutely feel free to come up and say hello to me, because I won't be able to know who you are if you don't. And I would love to meet anybody like that if that happens again. It was a lot of fun to do that.
Look at Breezy. Breezy, you're too kind to us. You're so sweet. Thank you so much.
Yeah, everybody was loving the shirts. They were.
The shirts were adorable.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna give her.
I thought it was such a good likeness, and it was very whimsical and cute, and it was, I think, a good reflection of him.
Yeah, I do too. So they captured it was a very nice I don't know, celebration of him and all the ways, things he loved and liked. And I mean, it was really good. And they, of course they were grilling the hamburgers all afternoon. And
thank you, Breezy. Just
want to kind of say too, I mean, you want to acknowledge the people that were super supportive, and the guy that was running that Fallen Brewery, he was great. He once he figured out that we had bought the shirts or whatever, and he was like, "Oh no, you guys aren't paying for any waters or sodas, take what you want." And he wouldn't even let us pay for anything at all. So he was great to us too.
I mean, yeah, it was a really neat place. They had the Fallen Brewery. I know it's a brewery, but it seemed very family friendly. They had tons of games. We played tic-tac-toe with Big E. And also, what would you call that game?
I don't know. You just kind of like.
Do they have any crane machines?
Crane?
Claw?
Yeah, crane.
No, like board games.
I know, but did they have any like that? He loves those.
No. Because the problem with the claw machines with our son is that if he doesn't get something out of the claw machine, he's very good at it. Normally he does, but there's those times he doesn't, and those are bad.
That's not a good day.
And we've spent what, 30 bucks in one of those machines trying to get stuff out before, because it's just we can't. Once that happens, it's he's got to see it through.
I understand the mechanics of claw machines more than I would have ever dreamt in my. I can almost tell by looking at them if
Oh my gosh!
Good or bad.
Look at Charlene; she's cracking me up.
Are you kidding me? You guys are superstars. Love you guys. I feel like I'm at a PJ party when we're all here. Thank you very much, Charlie. It was. I wanted. I don't know how we can do it, but I'd like to meet folks from the channel sometime. I don't know. Maybe there'll be events or things in the future. I don't know what we'll attend next. Along those lines. I know. Just talking to Seth. I don't know when I don't want to like get ahead of him on announcements or whatever, but I know he is planning future events and things similar to this. But I will let him make it. That I don't want to get ahead of him if he wants to announce that. But things will be happening in the future for more awareness for Sebastian and that kind of thing too.
Did you mention him getting to meet our son and how sweet he was?
I didn't. So one thing I did kind of want to say is that before meeting Seth, I guess you don't realize how these biases affect you. And even though I think here, all of us, at least the three of us, and most of the folks probably in our chat, we've all ruled out Seth, I think, as a suspect for the most part.
In our own minds.
We've kind of done that work here. It's just very difficult to find any logical path that makes Seth any kind of suspect. So but I had heard, I think, so many negative things about him. I think I had just built up this assumption that I probably wasn't going to like him meeting him. Wouldn't have meant anything really, right? Because he's still innocent. I just assumed I wouldn't like him. I just kind of had that.
Well, you didn't know because,
because
there's a lot of stuff. Yeah.
But he was great. He was very nice. He was
not like him, just that you wouldn't click, maybe.
You know what I mean? He just wouldn't be, these things affect your opinion when you hear just so much negativity, I think. But he was great. He was very kind to our son when our son his autism is fairly severe. I mean, he's verbal, he can communicate, but you know right away that he's special needs once you start talking to him. And he comes up, he's like, "Nice to meet you," to Seth or whatever. And Seth gets that little kind of grin.
He got a little grin. Yeah.
And, just that kind of, and we were talking about Seth, where, sometimes when people are around special needs, you can tell that there are some people that are just kind of uncomfortable and whatever. And then there's people that their hearts are warmed to it. And Seth was one of those that, he liked meeting him. You could tell that he liked it. And, we didn't talk to Seth a whole lot.
We just didn't want us. He was, he had a lot of people around him.
He was bombarded.
Yeah. He was telling stories about Sebastian and, favorite things and some spaghetti recipe they did together. Just kind of, it was good. And
we met Tony too.
Yeah, we met Tony. Tony's much younger looking.
That was going to be my observation. You stole it.
Well, we both thought it.
Yeah, he looks much younger in person, and maybe it's just my bad eyes and looking at him on a telephone far away. But he looks much younger in person. He's very tall.
He is very tall.
He was taller than you, right?
He might be.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I know.
I wouldn't have. I don't think I actually even. If he had just walked by, I wouldn't have known who he was.
He introduced himself.
He's so much thinner and fit than he looks on screen. For some reason, I mean, a lot of people actually look really different in person. But he's definitely one of those. But yeah, so we met tons of folks, bunch of supporters for Sebastian, and like I said, there were people from all over the country that traveled in for it. And then so there was also, I guess, this other event that occurred, the distraction, I suppose, and we've talked about this, like how to kind of discuss it. We're not going to get into the drama aspects of it, all the YouTuber wars and things of that nature, all of that. I'm not really interested in it. And it has really nothing to do
with Sebastian
and all of that. That's a whole other story. Other people can cover it. Not really interested in it. We were when it happened though, it did affect a bit of the mood of everything there after it occurred. So it was, probably around, so the vigil was supposed to start around 5. I think the police arrived sometime after 4, I think. They were talking out there for quite a bit. People were kind of going back and forth and such. And so we just stayed inside. We didn't want to, I mean, we could have gone out there and recorded and all that kind of stuff, but
and there were people doing that.
We're just like, we don't want to be.
We don't want to be the story.
Yeah. We don't want to. Like, that's not the goal. We don't want to
The focus was Sebastian, and that's what it needed to be.
So I don't.
We stayed back. Plus, we have our son to think about too, right?
Yeah.
So
it was the potential for how big a mess it could have been. There was no reason for us to be involved in that.
There wasn't anything that we could do about what was going on either.
No, there wasn't. So,
and it wasn't our business.
So that did set a tone, and but the event did go on, and a lot of wonderful things happened after it. The vigil was really well done. The guy that spoke, he was with it.
He was amazing.
Yeah, he was really good. I ended up talking to him a lot while we were there.
He's a big talker.
He's a talker. So but a super good guy. I mean, he's a very good guy. He's got a child with autism and starting his own kind of charity. And I'm not sure what his connection was to the event, if he sponsored the shirts or something, but he's trying to get a charity off the ground to help parents that are needing help gathering like assistance in autism. Like
when you first get the diagnosis, because you don't know what to do with it, and honestly, there's not a lot of help right away.
There's not. You don't know.
It's very confusing.
So he's like, there's a need for that. So he's trying to do that in the Nashville area.
And Aunt E, I was talking to him about. I didn't tell him, our charity idea, but he did say that if I had questions about that, he would be happy to help.
Well, have a skeleton plan. So once we hit the lottery, we can start working on it.
Yeah. But, John Q's here. Welcome, John Q.
Oh, and did
whoops! I hit
Breezy for this.
I forgot. Oh gosh,
here I'll show it.
So much Breezy.
You're the sweetest thing in the whole world. You
the biggest supporter. I mean, so thank you so much.
She gets a thank you. I'm sorry. We have to do that. We have to do a thank you. We have to.
Hey, we've got John Q back in the house.
Yes, John Q's here. Welcome, John Q.
I also welcome Teresa Morton. Let's see, we've got a couple. Karen Powers, Ninny, Trooper's mom, Lisa B. Always. Thanks for dropping in with us. We've got so many people tonight. Thanks for joining us.
All right. Sorry.
And I think the last takeaway I personally had from the whole vigil was about Seth. Because everybody's watching him, and he's going around and greeting, and he's being host, and doing that whole thing. And
hold on.
What was wrong? You said hold on.
Okay, so Karen Powers, I just want to address this so that because the Autism Foundation guy wasn't an agent. Somewhere today, somebody was swearing that he was an agent. An agent of what?
Like a FBI agent?
No.
I don't know. I've never heard that.
No. He told us where he lives. We talked to him. We talked to him a lot. He's probably a good hour after the prayer part was over.
Now, he does have another career, but it wasn't in like law enforcement or anything like that.
No, he did tell me.
I mean, I know it. I guess it's fine to say. He's not like anonymous or anything.
Yeah.
He's a financial planner.
Yeah.
That's what he said. So,
oh yeah. Karen says like FBI. No. He's a financial planner. He even told us what part of town he lives in and all that fun stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I assume that would be true, but now he was, I talked to him probably more than anybody at that event. Actually, I talked to him a long
he
time.
has a real passion. Oh my gosh. What's going on with you wonderful people tonight? Rogue. Look at you. Are a sweetheart. Okay. You get the thank you too. I know,
yes, it is called Jacob's Audible. I don't know if we ever said the name of it. Yes.
And we actually talked to him about coming on here maybe one night because we have a lot of parents that are touched by autism. So we discussed what?
I need to speak up, Calm Kitty.
Oh, here, get closer.
Right? I can hear, but I'm not sure if other people.
Thank you so much.
That should be better.
If you can't hear Mr. E, please let us know.
Yeah, I appreciate you letting me know.
Rogue, thank you so much.
Thank you, Rogue. That is awesome.
You guys, I swear. Thank you. I'm getting started.
Rogue said you do not have to go through all that.
I know, but we
you want to opt out of the stars?
Yes, if you do a chat and you would like to opt out of the stars, please let us know.
And someone was saying thank you for the membership. That was Lady Tit for Tat. If you got that just a moment ago, that's you.
And that Trooper's mom says he also has Jacob that is autistic. Right, that's where Jacob's Audible came from. Yes. And actually, it's very his son's 5, and his abilities are very similar to what our son was at 5. So we were talking a lot of nutrition and a lot of things that we did at that age that really helped our son get to a point where he, can speak, although stilted, he can still express himself, which is huge because we were told he was not going to be able to do that. So
they're saying he's still a little low, Mr. E.
Oh, I am.
Okay, here, let me try.
See, they share a mic, guys, so that's why.
We could go in separate rooms and do it that way, and we could each have a different mic.
Yeah, we're not.
It sounds fine in my headset, but
I can hear fine, but you also might want to try if you are having trouble hearing, turn up your end as well.
Will you talk?
Okay, well, doing a test here. Testing 1 2, testing 1 2. How are we on volume there? Is that a thumbs up if this is about right, or if we need to go higher?
I think that sounds good.
Okay, Nana says we're doing okay.
If Nana says we're okay, we're okay. Thank you, Nana. And welcome, Nana.
Calm Kitty says it's been great before, but not tonight. So I don't know.
I don't know.
I can try to kind of project a little more just in general, keep it up. Well, other folks are saying thumbs up. So maybe we got that fixed.
Purple World, welcome. I know who you are. Let's see. And if it's me, it's fine.
Voices with Jackie says, I think Mr. E is just a gentle talker.
I'm trying all the different settings. So if you have, try that.
Oh, well, I think we were okay.
You like that one?
I don't know.
Okay, we're just going to go with this. We're going with this one.
You're loud and clear to me.
All right.
Hi, Find Summer's Truth. Let's see. Oh, we've got so many great people. I love, what's fun is to go into other people's chats and see all these names that we see in here.
Yes, it is fun.
But anyway, get back to work.
Hi, Barb. Welcome in.
Yeah. And so I just want to, I think and unless you have anything else about there was one thing. Just watching Seth at times, he was a little up and down throughout the day. You could tell there were some times he was sad. There were some times he was, enjoying the company and all that kind of thing. And, kind of how you would expect anybody to act, right? Even with everything that happened, even after the vigil and everything that had gone on, my takeaway with him is just his the way he carries himself. He is a man that is sad, but I don't think he's broken. So this is not a guy that I don't believe is giving up. I think he is, even with all this stuff that gets thrown at him. I don't think he's backing down from any of this. So I think he's going to keep going ahead until he's got some answers. So that's
encouraging.
Yeah, that's how I felt, especially after the vigil and everything. And so that, for whatever that's worth, that was my impression. Do you have anything else about the vigil you kind of wanted to?
Oh, the Real Me Too does.
Oh, I really Real Me Too.
We get to meet the Real Me Too in person.
To meet you in real life. That was great to meet you. And
I'm going to mute it for 1 second. I got a cough.
And we hung out for a while.
Sorry, go ahead.
You didn't mute it.
Right.
Mr. and Mrs. Z, and we hung out for a while. Such beautiful people. You're awesome too. You've been great with our channel, and happy to have met you there. And I know you're very passionate about these missing kids, and so we appreciate you also. So let's get to the. Unless you guys, I mean, if you guys have any questions about the vigil, anything like that, I hope.
John Q asked if he could join the panel for a moment.
Sure.
I don't know how to do that. Let me work on that.
You would have to send him a studio link like you do me, probably.
Okay.
But I'm not sure how to do that.
Okay.
There's an invite button at the bottom. Can you click?
Oh, okay. I see it. All right.
You might be able to click on him after you hit invite.
Okay. Guys, I'm sending this to John Q. Please do not take it if you're not John Q.
Yeah, John Q is great. If you haven't checked out his channel, he's done some really good videos on all kinds of different true crime. But I've checked out a lot of his work on Sebastian. He does excellent videos.
This is for John Q only. Pamela Picks, thank you. God, you guys tonight. I'll tell you.
Did you send it?
I did. I put it in the chat. Am I not supposed to?
There's a video screen down here that says Mrs. E.
No, that's not what that is. When he comes up, I'll see him.
Okay.
So that should be there. And while we're waiting, let's welcome Pamela. Pamela Picks is here, and she is a new member. Thank you, Pamela.
Thank you,
we
Pamela.
appreciate you so much. And then what else?
Did you put it in the chat?
I did put it in the chat. Did it not show?
I didn't see it. I see where it says to send it in Gmail, but I
copied and pasted it in the chat.
I'm going to scroll back.
Hold on. You guys, let's give Pamela her minute.
Oh, it's there. I just don't know.
I can't see it.
Yeah, there's a it's back right above the Pamela Picks.
Oh, I see it.
Okay, time out. You two welcome Pamela. Thank you, Pamela. We appreciate your
Pamela, thank you.
You guys get caught on the minutia.
Sorry, John. We're a bunch of newbies over here.
We don't know what we're doing.
We're still learning.
We don't claim. We don't claim. Let's see.
I don't know if he can click on it or not.
I'm looking at it. Where is it in the chat?
It was up above.
I think you have to when you click
on it.
You can click on it. It won't let. When I do, it just wants to show it.
You can't. And he's watching it on YouTube. He's not watching it on StreamYard.
Right.
So we'll just wait for John Q to come up. And if you want to keep going with your stuff, we'll just wait until John gets here.
Okay. Well,
I'll look for it.
I mean, I don't know. I don't see him talking anymore in the chat, so maybe he's trying to connect.
Feel the love. Try. Here's John Q. Okay, here. Told you it would work.
Well, it worked.
Yay.
Okay. Welcome, John Q.
Hello.
Hi, John. You sound great there. How are you doing tonight?
I am doing good. It is a pleasure connecting with you on your channel. Finally, my goodness.
I think you're kind of our first guest.
I mean,
to hop up here, right?
If you don't count Aunt E, because we got Aunt E here.
Get rid of me.
Yeah, we can't get rid of her now. So
yeah, so this is for us. I'm excited to have you hop up here. So what are you thinking about all the events that have been going on the last few days?
It's explosive, to see this kind of movement, especially after 6 months that Sebastian has been missing. And now there's movement, and the internet is moving in unison with this case, just as it did Summer Wells and a number of different cases. Gabby Petito. I mean, I can go on, but it's good for now. However, there is a lot of unanswered questions.
Oh, yes.
Sure.
You know, a lot of people are speculating, and much love to the chat for Mr. E's, Mrs. E's, and Auntie E's Crimecast. You guys are doing great work. Someone out of my channel told me about you guys. I think it was out of a panel that I had did with a number of other content creators. Your name got shot to my email. I said, I'll check it out. And I sat in your live a couple of times watching video that you guys had shot on location in the area. I said, okay, you got my attention. And you guys have had my attention ever since. You know, I think the work you're doing is phenomenal.
That's very good. Thank you.
Yeah, no, you guys are great because you're keeping it to the details and the facts. Not anything speculative or hypothetical, even though that may come up a little bit from time to time, you know, but, you know, it makes you think. This case, in any case, makes you think, what are the possibilities? What are the probabilities? What's more likely? What's less likely? And you begin to dig through that and then begin to gather your own thoughts. And that's what I truly enjoy about your channel, is because you guys share your thoughts, your perspective on your experience, not hypotheticals, your experience being on the road, taking this connection, shooting this video, commenting on the reason why you even went out there to do what you did. So I admire and respect and appreciate what you're doing.
Well, thank
you. So
That's
thank you.
Can we clip that and make it a little video?
It'll be our trailer.
Yeah, it'll be our trailer for our show. That is so very much appreciated. That's very sweet.
No, it's good. It's really good, especially when you don't get into trouble doing it.
Try.
Yes, that's our goal, to stay out of trouble.
People want you to, though. They try. But we're trying to stay out of it.
Just so John knows, John, we did put your link in chat. So guys, if you're watching, John Q's got a great channel, and we'd love for you to go sub up to him.
Very talented at putting his videos together, so it's really good.
And
really good.
I mean, I try. You know, looking at it, I'm in New York, and when you see a case out of Tennessee, it reminded me of Summer Wells.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, oh, no, not another one.
Right.
I know.
And then it began to go in that direction, you know, mysteriously missing. No one knows what's going on. No one has any idea. Police are baffled, you know, that kind of thing, to where it says, how does a child go missing from inside the house?
Exactly.
First of all, when there is a parent there. You know, and it reminded me of Summer Wells. And I said, okay, well, let me take a look. Let me see what's out there and bring up, you know, the information that I was able to glean from other content creators. And I said, okay, well, let me take a look into this. And my email blew up. How come you're not covering Sebastian Rogers' case? And I'm going, okay, well, let me take a look at it. Send me what you got. And I looked at the credible versus the incredible, and that's what's going on in and around the community, is the incredible to believe versus the credible to believe.
Yeah.
And that's what led me to do a couple of panels with some other content creators to get their perspective. And it made me start to dive into certain areas that concern me the most. Like, there was one area, and this is the reason why I wanted to jump up on your panel, get your perspective on those lights at night.
Mm.
The most critical point, I guess, out of this case was when those lights showed up from the video. Okay.
Yes.
That kind of brought like foul play into the picture. I don't know if you got that, but I did.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
There's something going on at night, while people are asleep at around 3 o'clock, and we got floating lights, and Sebastian goes missing the next morning when his mother wakes up, goes into his room, and finds him missing. And then the police turn around and say that there is no evidentiary evidence to prove anything about that video. Now, it was strange that that video had the timestamp on a different date. Then to find out, I guess, out of the community, if I can put it that way, that the information that was put out there was that that video at that time, for some reason, it was a malfunction on that date, and that's why the date was wrong.
Right.
And that drew a big red flag for me. And a lot of people are trying to show that video clip as part of the case, according to the visual of the video and not the date of the video. Me, I'm taking a look at the date of the video, telling me, well, this is where the camera failed. More so than the camera failed with the timestamp. If you get what I'm saying. If you get what I'm saying, it's kind of tricky because I looked at that video piece, and I don't know if you have it or in your file or.
I mean, I remember the time was locked at 3:11. Is that
about 3:11? Correct. 3:11:23 is what I picked up on it. So when you said 3:11, I said Mr. E is on it because I got 3:11 in my notes.
Right.
Okay.
So is that what you're saying?
What's that?
Is the date? I don't recall the part about the date. Is the date?
Yeah, the date is not of the morning of the 26th. The date is of the morning of the 23rd.
I see.
Oh.
Yeah. And I said, why isn't anyone picking up on that? And
I didn't. I guess.
If what was said about the video's date is wrong, I can understand why police are saying that it is of no evidentiary evidence because the camera malfunctioned for some strange reason or the date's not correct. And when you have to take in evidence to a DA's office that has to go before the court to try to get any kind of order from a judge, your facts better be in line. And I said, okay, so that's why the police said what they said. It is of no evidentiary evidence. And I said, I'll keep that on the table because it's critical for people to know that going forward. But more and more as the case began to go into month 3, month 4, month 5, and now month 6, they're still showing the YouTube community, that is, they're still showing that as part of the case as evidentiary value to say this is what happened possibly to Sebastian that night, but knowing that the video, the timestamp is off. We don't know where that video came from. if it was edited because it's such a short clip. Why don't we have more of that video? The video's angle, in my opinion, is compared to what people have been saying about it, is basically opposite of what we're seeing. If you had maybe even a still shot that you could get of that video with the timestamp on it, maybe I can explain the reason why I feel the way I do in reference to that clip itself is creating a lot of false information going on out there in this case. And that's just my point of view.
Well, Auntie, I'm
looking.
okay. I will say that let's see, and this is what lady just said. Let's see.
I've got the Nick Barris and the Channel 5 article. I mean the
Nick Barris
on it. I'll send it to you.
Okay. Lady for Justice says, mystery. Keep in mind that the time on the door cam was stuck at 3 a.m. according to the neighbor.
So I'm just kind of thinking it through. So if we have the time as September 23rd on the camera, but it was just a malfunction that it always read the same time and date. Is that kind of what we're thinking?
Well, I believe didn't Bobby address that in JLR? Bobby the neighbor addressed that in JLR's video.
I mean, there is a certain extent where you're relying.
Sorry,
Nick Barris's article says that the security video is from the night that he went missing. That's his exact words. He said it is from the night that he went missing.
Okay, see that's not really coming from law enforcement to me.
Right.
But
I don't think Nick is a part of law enforcement. I think Nick is gathering information from other people that said the same thing. And not to discredit him in any way, shape, or form. It's just that, that's how I look at evidence. Evidence being true to the case at hand. If I can do this, because I know I'm going to stir up some people's nerves by saying what I'm saying. I've
got the Nick Barris video if that is helpful.
Well, I'm looking at the video and it does not show a time or date stamp at all.
Actually,
okay. Let me show you what I have. I sent you guys something. It should be on our panel next to me.
See. We're not good at this, John.
Oh, I see it where it says add to stage down there.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Okay, so if you can add that screen, there you go.
Oh, perfect.
Okay.
I see.
Oh, that's awesome.
Can you see this?
Yeah, I see that it says that.
Okay. I was able to get a screenshot from, I can't tell exactly what YouTuber was out there sharing this, but I know that there were a number sharing this information on their channel. And I said, okay, first thing I look for in video cam are timestamps, dates, just like we see on a police officer's body cam anytime they release any kind of body cam footage to the public. Okay, so we have that here. I said, okay, so what are we looking at? And as you can see out of this video, this is February 23rd of 2024. I don't know if you can see my hand.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
At around 3:11:04.
Mm-hmm.
This video account hookup, could be to a Wi-Fi hookup, captured this image at that time. That's number one. That's why I wanted to share this with you so that this may have people take a look at the evidence that's being thrown out there.
Right.
And in a way, not to take away from anything that's been out there, but you have to go through the process of deduction in a case.
Sure.
You're doing induction is an intake. You're trying to get as much information as possible. Deduction is to see what doesn't fit to get to the core evidence. Police do it all the time.
Right.
And so with that timestamp being the way it is and these lights showing up at that time with this view, and one, this is where I believe that the sheriff's department kind of excluded this only because the timestamp was on the wrong date, number one. Evidence to court has got to be accurate. So this is where they came up and stated that this held no evidentiary value in the case, and that's why they kind of dismissed it, pushed it to the side. Meanwhile, we've got people on YouTube still making this image or this video piece a part of the case anyway, as if it did take place on the 26th. Now, hearsay never works in court. Evidence says either it is or it isn't.
So,
and according to this video, you can obviously see, let's just say you're the judge, and this was brought before you in this case of, going forward to prosecute those that are involved in the case. And this is what they gave you. What would you think?
So, right. So I think where you're heading with this is, even if this is the video from the 26th, because the timestamps are off, they're not going to be able to use it as actual evidence in a courtroom, because a jury's going to look at this, a judge is going to look at this, and it's not going to be good enough. Even if it is because the timestamp was frozen and the date was frozen, or if that's the case, if the date just froze on the 23rd, 3 days later, this is actually happening in the middle of the night on the 26th, it probably would not be of. So technically, you're right saying it's not of evidentiary value, because they won't be able to submit this as evidence, even if it is accurately capturing the event of the night. Is that kind of what you're saying?
Right, exactly. Because if it was, with the FBI now posting a $50,000 reward, you would think this would be enough effort. If they went along with this video, they would have said so.
Okay, I've got a new theory here then. Okay, so Nick Barris has been kind of the guy for the police. When Sumner County wants to leak stuff or give information or talk to the media, they use Nick Barris, and they have for 5 months. What if the police knew this video would never be able to be used as evidence? So they thought they would use it by leaking it to Nick and setting a bit of a narrative. What if they were the ones that leaked it to him?
All right. I have no idea of how this video got online at all.
The first one came from Nick. The original.
I'm sorry.
The original one, the flashlight video, the first one came from Nick, and then there was another. Have you seen the mob video, the monsters under the bed guys? They've done 2 videos on this just recently, where they do like an overlay. Have you seen this?
I've seen a number of them, and what kind of takes away from all of this, to me, is the angle in which the camera is pointing.
He explains it, and on that, he's done 2 back-to-back videos on this camera. And the first video or this, not the most recent, but the one before that about this, he shows that what had happened was whoever leaked that later video of this did it with a cell phone. They recorded it off someone else's screen with a cell phone, which is why that image is shaky and at a weird angle. So he had to do like math to make it line up properly with like the lights of the garage and nearby lamps, and it makes the path of those flashlights go between 2 of the homes to the right of the gazebo, if you kind of know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, yeah.
And it lays up perfectly. Like you can see the flashlights. What he's saying is that because that final leaked video was filmed with a cell phone, it's not as accurate, or it doesn't line up perfectly with the original leaked video because it's at a different angle. But when he tilted it and did the overlays, it lines up perfectly.
Right, right. It's a video of the video that captured that night. That I got.
Right, and I did not realize that at first. I did not realize that to these mob guys. I don't know. I don't know much about their channel, but it was really interesting. If we were going to actually recommend it to our folks tonight, checking it out.
Right, right.
But that's a good point. It had not occurred to me that that phrasing, that it's of no evidentiary value, is a specific term, and that there may be truth in the video, but it may not be admissible.
It wouldn't stand up in court. It wouldn't.
Exactly. That's key. That's the whole key to this case.
I get what you're saying, because I've rewatched all of the Murdaugh trial, and there's so much evidence that they were able to produce, but something with a date like this and an inaccurate time, possibly, it's not going to stand up in court when against. Yeah, I get it.
Exactly.
Tear that to pieces.
So when someone blows this particular thing up, like I just did without the dates, you're looking at a scenario where you'd have to believe the person actually presenting this to you as fact. Here's a video that was taken that night. And now I'm showing your audience this clip just like it is right now. Mm-hmm. We've got two lights over here to the right. We've got background lights over here.
Right.
To the left of those, this is a driveway, and this is the camera in which caught all this. It's seen that to me, I can't buy. That to me is not evidence. When you have something that gives you a timestamp, now gives you a timestamp and a date. It gives you a timestamp and a date that's wrong. How could you use this as any kind of evidence? Whether the camera broke, is there a statement from the owner of this camera that has been made to police to state this as factual or not? Has that arisen? No.
No, I don't.
No, not that we're aware of.
No.
Right. Okay. So now you understand why the sheriff's department came out and said this video has no evidentiary value to it, only because they looked at what we're looking at here tonight.
Right.
This was one of the reasons why I wanted to, share this with you, is that a lot of people are promoting this night cam video more as a fact of the case than questioning the validity of the video with the timestamp. And not only that, the angle of the camera. You're putting houses at a different angle that they're not.
Mm-hmm.
They're not. According to your visuals, and I'm going to ask the chat this is going to be a little interactive. I want to see if everyone can, enjoy this exercise being here tonight, because no one knows I'm here with you. Not even my folks up from my channel. Yeah. Okay.
Word will go around.
All right. So we're looking at this image just as is. This is how I wanted to catch it. I wanted timestamp. I wanted angle of the camera. I wanted color. I wanted to see what the camera was looking at allegedly that night Sebastian went missing, right? Okay. So from your point of view, looking at this video piece, this still shot, okay? Carefully now, which position is the camera coming from? Left, middle, or right side in this driveway? Left, middle, or right side in this driveway? And you guys in the chat can type your answer so that I'd like to call you guys the Crimecast team, if I can,
Oh, of course.
covering the case. From your point of view, looking at this still shot and everything in it, where do you think that camera is right now? More to the left, more to the center, or more to the right?
Well, we've been by this house, so we kind of can tell like where the cars are parked and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Now you got KB. KB says to the left. Here we go. There we go. So
It's
we're
to the
starting to
right.
get, yeah.
Do you mean like the
Like
house?
The location of
like-
the camera, I
The
think.
location of the camera on the building, the house.
Oh, okay. I think we've
is it
seen, I think
more,
camera.
yeah, is it more from the left or more from the middle or more from the right?
Well,
I think it's middle.
Lady Tit for Tat has a good point. It doesn't. She's saying it doesn't matter that it has a fisheye lens, does it not? I don't know.
A fisheye lens.
Kind of the one that's kind of bubbled.
Okay, what do you see?
The cars do have, they do have a bit of a curve to them, don't they?
Yeah.
Okay, let's take a look from that perspective. And that's what I did. I said, okay, I'm looking at this picture. Where's the camera?
I mean, if
And
you were,
from the angle of it, I go to my left shoulder and I said, okay, well, I'm on the left of everything that I'm looking at from this camera angle. I'm not in the middle. I'm not from the right. How so, John? Well, I'm capturing everything from the left side only. Driver's side doors of two vehicles versus the passenger door of the black vehicle. I have to be somewhere capturing this image. What side am I on? Garbage cans are over to the left. Camera angle is coming from the same angle the garbage cans are coming from. So therefore, the camera angle is coming from the left going to the right. I said, okay, I'm good with that. Then when I see the videos that are being, portrayed out there, because I've been looking at this for the last couple of weeks. That's why I've been quiet on my channel. I'm taking a look at what's out there carefully to begin seeing something different than what's being told.
well, let's bring that comment back. Let's do that. 'Cause that's interesting if that's.
From C. Taylor?
Yeah. So C. Taylor says, I have seen testimony in court cases when timestamp from camera video is often date and time. They will have sworn testimony from either the video owner or law enforcement that confirms the date time is often why. So that might make it admissible. Of course, it makes it weaker maybe for the prosecution, but it may not. If that's the case, maybe make it at least feasible to admit it, I would think.
Right, but it also would make it more challenging too to try to get over. Because the prosecution or defense attorney, depending on how this is going to go, is going to have a field day with the timestamp.
Well, either way, the law enforcement's going to know, because when they gather the footage, they're going to know how far back they had to go, and they're going to know. They'll know.
And,
exactly.
I have a question. I had heard, and this was just rumored, that something could have scrambled camera times and dates. And the owner of the camera reported to law enforcement that the camera was tampered with and it affected the timestamp, but that the timestamp started working again after the disappearance.
I've heard that too, but we don't have that confirmed.
We don't have it
Right.
confirmed, but
Right.
that could be a possibility as to why it was messed up.
Oh, right. Exactly. So that would go back into the possibility box.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And that would make sense, and like I said, I'm not here to disprove anyone.
Sure.
I'm looking at the same thing everybody else is looking at, and I'm looking at it from a different perspective, and if I was to go out there and to go into this driveway and to try to get this camera angle just as I see it, I'm going to duplicate my body to be at this angle, and this angle is going to be what I see. So from what I see, looking at the driveway from this angle, are you more to the left in this angle? Are you more in the center, capturing all three cars? Or are you more to the right toward the white truck over in the dark? It's perspective. It's just perspective, because the light is coming from the left.
Yeah,
Right, you're
closer
right.
to the left for sure.
Yeah.
And I
The
think
garbage cans are to the left. So this camera, what it's shooting has to be left of the image that we're seeing. Now we go to and I'm going to have to drop out of here for a second.
okay.
We have to go to the facts. See if I can bring up my.
Yeah, so somebody's making the point that we were talking about earlier. Depends on which video you just pulled up and screenshot this, because one of them's from a cell phone, one of them's the actual camera. I don't know which one that is that you just pulled up.
Okay, so
That's why I think I would look at that if you're trying to figure out that angle, see if it really lines up. That mob video is really good. I mean,
They actually overlay it from that driveway perspective of the camera.
I just watched it today.
Me too.
Right.
Very convincing about the.
Oh, it is. It is. I believe there's a lot of great YouTubers out there putting in due diligence and trying to make sense out of what they see. And I get it. I truly get it. And it all comes from what has been put out there. And what's been put out there is this video that's got everyone studying everything about it, how dark it is, how much light there are, how these lights showed up to the right-hand side. They're floating around out there. Wait a minute, there's movement out there.
Did you watch
during the night? Sebastian went missing, and oh my God, wait a minute. It's starting to crystallize into something is going on which someone knows about. And then when you correspond that information to the Proudfoot's interviews that they've had on social media, whether it be Nancy Grace or Chronicles of Olivia, or whether it be another, YouTuber that was able to interview them, and then you correspond this night video out there, a lot of things don't match up, and hence we have the questions that we've all been asking. And it makes sense.
Oh, well, you always favor Tennessee nerds.
Yeah, Tennessee nerds me a bit more faith-incratic after learning about the date. I understand why he used the verbiage he did. I feel they believe it's from that night, but no evidentiary value. I felt the same way actually just now. So John, I appreciate you bringing that to our attention. That's one of those little pieces that clicks in place for me, because that statement from Craddock has always bothered me a little bit. Because if you've listened to us a lot, we do believe that most folks don't really try to lie directly, and so that statement's always been troublesome. But that would be the kind of statement that he can make, and it is true, even misleading perhaps to our understanding of what he's trying to say, but in technicality would be true, even though that video could still very well be from the night of the disappearance.
Right.
Yeah. So
it's not to throw anybody off of anything. I'm just speaking as an individual with a unique perspective, just like everyone on panel, just like everyone in the chat. Looking at this case unfold the way it has, I'm glad that the FBI decided to, put out a reward, which is important. It lets us know they're still working on it. Good. They're still looking at things about this case, which is good. They may be going back over preliminary statements that were made early in the case, enough maybe to give them some kind of inkling whether they should go back to re-interview. And that's all good.
Oh, yes.
It's good.
It's wonderful news. Absolutely wonderful news.
Yeah. So I was delighted to hear that. They are watching the case. They put up the money. Wait a minute. They put up the money. How come? And here comes the other questions that's been out there in our community. What kind of searches are being done? We know from a portion or a part of the case that there is a biological father looking out there for his son over and over and over and over. And he's now even on YouTube sharing that information. Other people do have their, opinions about what and how and who he's associating with, more so than focusing on Sebastian, focusing on what law enforcement is at right now. And that's sad because, and then it goes into content creator and personalities and, people get nasty, just like they did in the Summer Wells case, Gabby Petito's case, et cetera, et cetera. It's just a part of the neighborhood in which the community happens to, when they get stuck not doing due diligence and research, well, that's what they end up doing, hitting everybody else over the head. I'm not a part of that community. I don't even go there because that's not why I'm on my channel.
Right.
No reason.
And I appreciate yours because, Night After Nightle, when you guys go live, I said, the E's, I call you plural, the E's have got something to say because you guys are not on here every single day doing 2 and 3 lives.
No,
thank you to the chat for the post. Thank you for the chat, for the sticker. Thank you for the sub. Thank you for the super chat. Oh my goodness. Here's that on cash. I know what that's about.
Oh, okay. Well,
you see, and so those that know will help you to grow. Me, I don't have to worry about any of it because I'm not monetized for 5 years.
Why?
Being on YouTube doing what I'm doing. No, I'm not. I put up a little banner, a little blue banner up top that says, if you'd like to donate, here's where to go. That's it.
Okay.
And I go into the story, I deliver, I come off, I sleep very well at night, knowing that if I can get up with God's blessing to get back into this case, I'm on it. If I have nothing to say, guess what? You don't see John Q too much.
That's our philosophy too. Yeah, that's the way.
Yeah.
We don't go live all the time. I feel like if we're going to go live, I want to have a show. I want to have stuff to talk about. So we just don't go up here just to, we make notes. We do research before we come up, and because I feel like if people are going to be here, I appreciate them being here, and we value their time.
Lisa B always has a question for you, John.
Yes.
Oh, Auntie must have clicked out of it. Hold on.
And I think we put his link up there, didn't
What's
we?
going
Somewhere in the
on?
chat?
Auntie,
I'm not touching anything.
okay, I'm gonna try again.
This was Lisa B. always. Question for John Q. The last seen date of 26th of February in the area of Stafford Court when the mom says she last saw him on the evening of the 25th of February. Have you heard this kind of discussion? That's something people have wondered about because
FBI says,
technically,
yeah.
according to the stories, the last time anybody would have seen him would have been sometime around 9 p.m. But the flyers and that kind of thing and the initial release, some things still say that actually, February 26th, the last time. What do you make of that? Do you think that that's of relevance?
Well, I mean, it's a great question. Thank you, Lisa. According to what I'm looking at pertaining to the case, publicly, outside of Katie and Chris's statement, publicly, when was the last time Sebastian was seen? I go back to the Texas Roadhouse. I go back to the timestamp on which the biological father said that he's seen a video from the Texas Roadhouse giving him a visual as to what time they left. So publicly, that is the last time Sebastian has been seen. What goes on after that time has been a part of the core narrative, both from Katie and Chris. Now, I've got no reason to disbelieve their narrative because they're telling it. They want us to believe it. Okay, if that's what you say, what happened, happened. However, we're starting to find some discrepancies in what you're saying. Either you're saying too little and it doesn't make sense, or you're not saying it in a way to make sense to us, because hence we have a lot of other questions about it that you're not answering. And this is where this is stirred up in our community.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, my computer's on. I actually think it has to do more with the fact that Katie was up at midnight. And to her knowledge, he was still in the house at midnight. So that would be into the 26th.
But at midnight, she heard the sound before midnight and told him to go to bed.
I know, but what I mean is that when she went to bed around midnight, which would be the 26th, that the house was secure, and to her knowledge, he was in bed.
And I see. My thinking was that they just announced the time he's known to be missing. Maybe would be the 26th, the first report.
Right.
Right.
That's what I assume that flyer means, and it's.
But she never checked on him that night to be sure as a parent. If something unusual happened, and the thing that became unusual that night about what happened was the thud or the thump or an unusual noise coming from allegedly his room, where she had to verbally, audibly say to him, "What are you doing in there? I thought I told you to go to bed."
Right.
This is according to what she has mentioned in our community. Hence giving us a hint, this was the last time we communicated together, but I didn't see him visually during that communication. So that right there bothers a lot of people. If there was something unusual that happened at a certain time, human nature, and especially being a mother, human nature would say, just go check. Just go check. Take a look. Make sure. Type stuff. And more so for the women than men. And that's what I felt. I said, my mom, if I made a noise when she told me to go to bed, and she heard it, and I made a noise to where it got her attention enough, she would get up and open my door if it was closed, or just take a peek through my door if it was open to make sure my light was out and I was in bed and the sound of the house was satisfactory for her to say, okay, now I can go to bed. He's good. She's good.
Problem for me with that whole thing is I don't believe anything about the phone call from 9 to midnight, because that story has changed so many times that anything within that 3-hour period, I don't believe. And I don't believe anything that happened from the time she woke up in the morning until law enforcement got there. Because it's the way she tells this story. She switches from past tense to present tense in one of the original versions. And then she does the same thing at 6 a.m. She switches to present tense when she's looking for him frantically or whatever, and then goes back to past tense when law enforcement gets there. She makes that switch. And that's one of those, statement analysis indicators that someone is fictionalizing a story. She's also not very specific about those times. And
she doesn't add the thud in until the third interview.
yeah, the first one, there's no thud. The second one, there's a sound. And then she says something. And then even her communication with Sebastian in each of those next two versions changes. So anything that she says that happened within that is, in my mind, just nothing close to a verifiable fact at this point.
And that's what lured me to your channel, because I felt the same way you do. You know, when you got a void, when you have a void like that, and you caught the void too, I'm glad you did. I said, wait a minute, Mr. E is on to something. Because I went back, I re-listened to a couple of those interviews, and I said, I got the same void. And if you go to some prominent, bigger channels that have been covering this case, they say the same thing too. They bring on analysts. You have Jennifer Coffindaffer, which is a former FBI agent, even saying the same thing. So we can't be all wrong in looking at and feeling and sensing that the narrative that's been put out there, there's something wrong there. There's something not adding up. It's not enough, or it's too little.
They all
in essence to be believable.
Yeah,
you know?
I'm just
and the thing for me is that she never checked. She didn't do the woman instinct things when women have children in the house. They check. And I love every single one of the women who have children that check, because you know your children, you know your child better than anybody else.
Yeah.
From the idea of wanting to have until you have. And then when you do, you work overtime to keep everything that you wanted to have. And she didn't do it. Why? Nancy Grace asked why. And there was no answer. I need to check on him. You heard this unusual sound at a particular time, a specific time, because I didn't hear when he took out the garbage. What time did he take out the garbage, if he did? Did he take a shower that night?
I don't think she says a specific time. She just...
she says he took the trash out because it was his chore.
Yeah, I don't think she did.
Before 9.
Yeah, before 9. 9 is when he now goes to bed.
Mm-hmm.
10 is when the unusual noise occurred. 12 is when, almost near 12 is when I got off the phone.
Right.
She remembered those particular timestamps, but yet what time did he take out the garbage? Could he have gone missing? Could he have gone missing then? And, you know, the story unfolded for her at that time, because the rest is her. She was the last person to be with him, according to the narrative. And she is the only one in the house, according to the narrative, that's present. So here we begin to look at the time of 9, 10, and 6. Now we've got about 8 to 9 hours time gap, which it's downtime up until 6, she finds him missing.
Actually, can I correct something on the timeline real quick? Because this is a common refrain, is that they were on the phone from 9 to midnight. But even in the very original Duchess interview, that is what Katie said. She says 9 to just before
I've got the
midnight.
actual time. If
And
you
then,
wanna.
but then shortly after that, that's when Chris kind of interjects and he goes, "Well, hey, look, just to be crystal clear for transparency and all that."
There it
He
is.
does like that big preamble, And he says, "Well, we were actually on the phone sometime around. We got on the phone at 9:43 or 9:46, and then we got off the phone."
This is his exact words. 9:43 or 9:46. The
9:46.
mom and
The
I
mom.
were on the phone.
Yeah, 9:43 or 9:46. The mom and I were on the phone, and then in some versions they get off the phone at 11:30. So,
Right.
and if you're
Just
trying to
before midnight,
establish a
too.
timeline, that's a big difference in time. So if
Yes.
you're looking at 9 to midnight, that's 3 hours.
Yes.
Or if it's the shorter version, it's 9:46 to possibly 11:30. Little
That's
quick.
very. That's
I
just a little over 2 hours.
Is that how much
A
time?
little, a little over 2 hours.
Yes.
Not quite
Correct.
2
2
hours.
hours and 15
It's like an
minutes.
hour and 45 minutes, right?
Yes.
No, 2 hours and
2
15.
hours and 15 minutes.
Oh my gosh, I don't know. Okay, is that right?
9:45.
No,
45 would be an hour. So 11.
9:45.
No, you're right.
An
You're
hour-
right.
About an hour and 45
Mrs. E
minutes.
is at this time of night, Mrs. E starts getting sleepy. So.
But that is some people always say this 3-hour phone call. You'll hear that over and over again. It might not have been a 3-hour phone call. It might have been an hour and 43-minute phone call.
Right.
So if we're trying to figure out who was where, when, and there are the theories about was Chris there? Did he go back to Memphis? Was he, could he make the travel in time? Well, a lost hour and 15 minutes, if you're trying to figure out a timeline, it's a big deal,
Mhm.
So that, anyway, that's just something that we don't, of course we don't, we're just taking their word for the timeline anyway. So it just depends on which version of the phone call story you believe.
Right.
It's either from an hour and 45 to 3 hours. But it makes a big difference if you're trying to figure out a timeline.
Right. I mean, to me, I wanted to know, since that was put out there, what was discussed.
Oh, that
From Chris, it was, what was discussed for the phone call to have lasted that long? What are some of the things you guys talked about?
And another thing, she was also studying and they talking and sleeping in and out while all this was going on. How can you do all those things and be on the phone?
Right. That was said on Nancy Grace, but was never said on the previous interviews before it.
Right.
I can't falter for that because I have been known to be on the computer, fall asleep, and talk to somebody on the phone all at the same time.
Yeah.
So,
and read a chapter of a book.
And this is where our questions come from. You see, when you start to feel in some way, shape, or form, as the case progresses, and there's a little bit of an add-on here, and a little bit of a tweak there, and a little bit of you didn't say that the last time you were talking to someone. Wait a minute.
Right.
What are you trying to do? And it's called fill in the space of time. I go with what Mr. E was talking about. Between the hours of 9 and 12, he's got 3-hour timeline in his head. We get specific to go from 9:46 to a little bit before 12. We can put 2 hours and change in our head. So, okay, all right. So what was so special or different or unique about this long phone call? It's a long phone call.
Right.
How are you? How I'm doing? Good. How's work? And you're going back and forth. How was your day with Sebastian? Oh, he was good. We got up for breakfast and started rolling with the what is it? The shoestring pancakes and
spaghetti.
Yeah, spaghetti pancakes. The FaceTime. She was pulling out points she wanted to disclose at that time, and as simple. That it made sense. We went to BJ's. So-and-so got dropped off, or so-and-so picked up so-and-so, and then they left, and it was just me and him. I said, okay, What did you and him do? Well, we went to BJ's where he had the popcorn, and then we went bowling. How long? Who saw? Is there any camera footage from that? Is there admission ticket for that? Is there any bowling shoe rentals from that? I'm digging in my book. I said, okay, well, nothing there. You go to dinner. I said, okay, you're going to where? Roadhouse. Hey, Texas Roadhouse for a steak. I said, sounds good. Sounds good. Who did you interact with? Waiter or waitress? How long did you stay? What did you have to eat? What did Sebastian eat? What did he drink? Did you guys conversate? What was the conversation about? Was it about the day, or was it something on Sebastian's mind? Was he acting okay then, or was there something else going on? Why did you guys leave? What time did you leave? And according to what the biological father, Seth Rogers, said, he viewed a video to state that there was a parking lot scene he saw where they left around 6:30. 6:30. So it takes between 6:30 and 15 minutes, give or take 17 minutes by Google Maps to get from Roadhouse to the house, where now in February, according to daylight savings time, it's dark. It's dark. And now you and him are alone. And then you go back over her narrative to say what happened then. Did he kick off his shoes at the door? Did he leave them on? Did you tell him to take a shower? Was there any other chores other than taking out the garbage that he's responsible of, knowing that he's 15? You know, now you got to go back into 15. What was it like for us to be 15? You know, what would be some of the activities that our parents told us that could, fit into an incorporated situation? Do you have your homework ready for the next day? You know, from the weekend, from the school week that took place prior to all this happening. If not, let me see. Let me see what you covered. Okay. Is there a homework signing from a parent to the school to say that the parent checked the homework with a signature? Mine did. Here in New York, my mother had to sign every piece of homework that I did to give to the teacher so that the teacher knew that my mom saw my homework. Now, that's when I was growing up. I don't know how it is in Hendersonville, Tennessee, but just growing up, because between 12 for females and about 13, 14 for guys, up until we get to 18, 19, teens, we're constantly being monitored because we're beginning to feel our way into life ourselves. We're beginning to get ideas about our life ourselves, which direction we're going into, what we want to do, what we think we want to do, et cetera, et cetera. We're listening to music. We're watching, we're listening to our friends. Peer pressure is a big part of it. And I said to myself, well, if he walked out the house, who was he friends with? Maybe at school, to maybe play a trick on the parents. Little things like that. But think 15-ish, the teen years. I thought of all that. And I said, no, until it shows up, until the school shows up, until that construction site in some way, shape, or form with evidence to hold it true shows up until anything that shows up in Memphis, I'm going to hold. Because really, when you go over the narrative and leave it right there, that's where we are. We're still with a lot of questions. How did he get out of the house if he didn't walk out?
Oh, yeah.
Right. And
I want to
actually,
acknowledge a super chat here real quick. Thank you, Serenity72. She says, there is an interview where KP said, I don't know why he walked out the door.
Mhm.
What if she meant his bedroom door and not the front door? Maybe she got angry with him for coming out of his room.
could be slippage. That's right. You never know.
We really just don't have
That's a
any-
great point, though. And thank you for your super chat. That's very sweet of you, Serenity. We
Thank you very
appreciate you.
much.
Thank you, Serenity.
Mhm.
Yeah, and for people like Serenity that are in the chat, they have their questions too. They're digging at it from their perspective. That helps to move the case into, areas of, yeah, that makes sense because I would ask that. Yeah, that makes sense because I would ask that. As a parent, I did this, and so on and so forth. But you don't find that outright from the narrative that they told. And then you ask yourself, how come? How come?
That's right.
Yeah.
Did you want to? You had some stuff you wanted to talk about with the reward. Did you want to have
Sure.
tell John some things that we found out and see his thoughts on it?
Sure. I do have some stuff that I'd like to kind of go over. If you want to hang out, John, that's great. And we can kind of all talk about some of these things. I did a little digging on these rewards and what it can mean.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I'm with the E family tonight, so and I love you guys, and I appreciate you having me up on panel. But I wanted to share that still shot because you brought it up, Mr. E. You brought it up, and I said, I made a note of it. I was listening in the chat, and I said, he's right. Go back to that still shot. There's something there. And that's when I started looking at the camera angle and so on and so forth that I tried to talk with you guys here tonight about. If anybody goes back to that still shot, you will find a different perspective. And it doesn't take a minute. It doesn't take 5 minutes. It takes some time. If I am the camera pointing this way, where am I? Is the question.
Right.
Where am I? Am I from the left? Am I in the middle? Or am I coming from the right? And what I wanted to show real quick, and I have a posted down below next to my my screen. There you go.
Oh, yeah.
I actually have to go put little E to bed. I'll be right back.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Okay.
Put the kids to bed real quick and we'll be back. Real professional thing we got going on here.
Okay.
Which house are we?
On Stafford Court, according to what's being put out there,
Yeah, that's the house.
this camera angle from this house here on the corner.
Yes. There's definitely a camera on that corner because I've seen
Yeah, and if I can just go down to it, let me see if I can.
Yeah, where you were just pointing, there's definitely a camera right there. Yeah.
Just go down to it. Okay.
We've got a noisy house tonight.
Now, according to the information that we talked about before about the camera angle, this camera from this side of the house is right here.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's up high. If I remember correctly, it's pretty high. It might be near the gutter even. It's pretty, or no, maybe, there is one right there, isn't there?
Yeah, there's one right there at the top of the garage door.
So I'm guessing what they're doing with that camera, they're just trying to protect their cars.
Right. So this is what I looked at. And I'm saying, okay, which angle is the camera compared to the vehicles in the driveway? Coming from the left, going to the right, correct?
Correct.
Coming from the left, pointing toward the driveway, which it would be to the right of it.
Yes. Yeah, that's pretty much the angle there.
All right. I said, okay. And so I did my little other research and I kept looking at it, kept looking at it, kept looking at it. And I said, wait a minute, let me go back again. And you brought it up. And then I went back and I said, okay, if I am the camera, me, your physical body is that camera. Which direction are you pointing in?
I would say pretty well diagonal.
This is according to what we're looking at. This is from the left,
Toward the right.
from the left to the right.
Yes.
So why am I looking at this from the right to the left?
Oh no, I think
Let's
Are you
go
saying-
again. Let's go again.
I think this is the camera, and I think the angle you did is what's being shown. Those trash cans, I think, are I don't know if they're in this picture or not, but they would be behind that white truck against the wall.
Mhm.
Right. Exactly. You're going from the left to the right.
Yeah,
Exactly. For the garbage cans to be over here.
Mhm. Behind the truck.
that white truck. I don't know if they're actually there in this picture, but that's the space in that nighttime shot. It would
Right.
be-
Exactly. Camera here to the left, pointing to the driveway. Now that makes sense. I have valuables in the driveway. We see the white truck in the driveway, the trailer, the boat, and the other car in the driveway. So why am I looking at it from this angle where the garbage cans are over here to the left, and it's more of a visual of that camera being as low as it is, pointing to the right.
It may not capture it well with this picture, but just that driveway is on a little bit of is a slope.
It's a slant.
On the
Yeah.
incline.
Yeah. There's some height to that house from the street, if that makes sense. So it's not
Right, definitely, because we can see that here too.
Yeah, you can kind of tell that sometimes with that.
We can see the slope of the driveway here in this cut right there.
Right.
It has to dip down, so it is on an angle. And the reason why is because, it would only make sense for if you have a rain gutter here, which would only make sense to have, and they do, rainwater will follow the gutter down a slope on a pitch down to the street, following the water vein. And that makes sense. It makes sense. That's what it's supposed to do. If you have that kind of a pitch where your car begins to, as you pull in, point up to the building, then you would have a pitch in which this driveway does. It has a pitch from height to bottom.
Right.
Water vein gutters funnel off rainwater from the gutters on the building. And that makes sense. That makes sense. So now, knowing this angle, camera to the left, facing to the right. But what if I did this? It's going to be some people coming over to your channel being mad at me, and that's okay. It's not about me. It's about Sebastian. Let's see if I can. Trying to see if I can spin this.
I want to just read a couple of super chats real quick. Misty Fisher says, my number one has always been Katie did not call Seth and ask him if he had Sebastian or if Sebastian contacted him. That is one of the biggest. Do you know what Misty's talking about there, John?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Misty was just saying one of her biggest red flags with this whole situation was that the morning that Katie and Chris contacted Seth after he'd gone missing, they just said, don't be mad. They didn't ask like, have you talked to Sebastian? Do you know where he is? That's been a huge red flag that they didn't ask Seth because they already, allegedly.
Right.
So that's one of the reasons that that folks have looked at them. I've got one more super chat we missed back here. Auntie, did you find it with Lady Tit for Tat?
Let me see. Hang on one second. I was on one earlier that had, I see the one from Serenity. Hang on.
It would have been the most recent, I think.
Okay, hang on one sec.
And much love to everyone joining the Crimecast channel tonight.
Yeah, and if you're here, I found it. Did you find it? Can I click it?
Go ahead and click it. Go ahead and click it. I still haven't found it.
Lady Tit for Tat says, yes, we're all eager to hear about the reward mystery. Yeah, we'll talk about that. John, can we'll do the video, and I think what you're about to show is the angle. I think you're gonna. I'm kind of guessing ahead, maybe debunking one of the theories here. Would you think the video angle is that where we're going with it?
I wasn't really trying to debunk. I try not to do that because a lot of people get pissed off, and then it comes back to you in words and and it starts a gossip wind tunnel, and I'm not interested in wind tunnels.
Sure.
Interested in facts, and so I preface my work to say this is not to debunk anybody. This is for your information from my perspective, and I want you to take a look at what I see. And if you can see what I see, then good. If you cannot see what I see, I'm good with that too. Up until you can do it for yourself, and up until you're convinced what you've been told in our community is true or not. I leave that to my audience. It's not for me to say.
Right.
The only thing that I can say is what I can share. And that's it. It's not against anybody, and it's not to bash anybody. It's not to, rebuff or debunk or what. I'm not trying to crash somebody else's story. I'm trying to look at it from my perspective and just focus everyone on that perspective. That's it. That's it.
Let's take a look.
And if you can see it, great. And if you can't, okay. We're still good. We're still good.
Let's take a look, because I know folks are anxious about me to get into this, the $50,000 reward and kind of our take on all of that. So, so let's see what you think.
Okay, this camera's here. Now, would the chat agree, according to my mouse, that the camera is in the left-hand corner of the building, pointing towards the driveway, which is to the left, and pointing toward Stafford Court, which is also to the left and in front?
I agree.
And you can type a 1 if you can see that. Camera here to the left of the building.
Right.
Driveway to the left of the camera. And from the driveway to Stafford Court, it would be still a left camera angle, being on the left side of the building, since we looked at it that way.
Okay.
From the beginning. It's, do you see what I see? Okay. Since the camera's on the corner of the building, the cars are in the middle in the driveway. The camera should catch the the driveway where the cars are, in which it does, and possibly the street right in front of it,
Right.
which it perhaps does to a degree. We have to think in degrees, because we want to take a look at our assets, our property up close. Okay. So would everyone agree the camera is not in the dead center of the building, looking down at the driveway and across the street to Stafford?
No, definitely not. No, it's definitely the corner.
Okay, we got a corner. Okay, and thank you, Mr. E. Okay.
In my opinion, that's what I think too.
Okay, and we can also agree that it's not coming from any other angle of the building, like over here, pointing from the left to the right.
Correct.
That would be the left side of the building to the driveway and Stafford Court. So this camera is at an angle. It is pointing in the driveway. It is coming to us from an angle, from this particular angle. This is the angle. Now think about where this camera is. Is it from the corner I started from? Or is this from a different corner? And this is what I was looking at over and over and over and over. I was looking for the garbage cans. So, okay, the garbage cans, if they lined up, they would want them close to the driveway to be picked up. And if I get down here, once again to show you, where would the garbage cans be? See? And so this is what you should study from this piece of case footage that has been included in this.
I see what you're going through. I see what you're saying.
Yeah, that's all. That's all I'm saying.
I got it.
Take a look at it from your point of view, and you can see that there's a big difference between this and the camera angle and this, which is the camera angle allegedly of that night, even though the timestamps are 3 days away from each other. You know, it's a different angle.
I'm not sure if we're actually picking up on the same thing or not, but would the issue be if that was trash night, those trash cans should have been out by the driveway?
I'm thinking,
is that what you're saying?
That's a good point.
That's where and unless they have a different trash company for the neighborhood for different people, but there were 3 trash cans up against the house. That was trash night. So those cans should have been out by the road, right?
There you go. There you go. They look like they're closer to the house than they are to the road, correct?
Yeah, no, they're definitely up by the house.
I mean, however, how many times have we forgotten to put our trash out on trash night, and we do it first thing in the morning?
It might be a recycling can or two, something like that. Maybe they have an extra. We have an extra that we don't always put out because it's not full.
But how many times have you had to run out there when the trash is coming down the street because we forgot?
Could have forgotten it, but that might be a problem.
Yeah.
That might be a problem with that video. At least that one. Because there's 3 different clips we've gotten.
Right. And so, you know, just a little piece, you know, can create further questions, which I hope it does for a lot of different content creators that are trying to be convinced that something was going on in the video during the time that Sebastian went missing. You know, how many other things were going on at this time that we also have to at least consider or incorporate outside of the lights, outside of the light up against the so-called the next home further down,
Just want to
and
mention,
the floating lights or something that appeared to be floating lights in the darkness that was commingling, if you will, at that time. Was this a garbage night or wasn't it? And that's a good point.
yeah, other folks in our chat are actually saying, well, that they take theirs out in the morning. So
Right.
maybe they're the kind of people they get up early, they go out at 5, put their cans out, because I think, if I remember correctly, the trash trucks don't come through till around 5:30 typically. So maybe it's that. Maybe they were out of town. Maybe they just didn't have any trash. You just never know.
Right. Until it is confirmed. Until it's confirmed.
Yeah.
Right.
As such, and then it crystallizes the story a whole lot better.
Right.
It confirms the neighbor had made a statement, and hence here's a statement from the Sumner Sheriff's Office. The neighbor who had the camera that night made a statement, blah, 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 blah. And this is why we considered this to be a non-evidentiary valued piece of information pertaining to Sebastian going missing. When you spell it out that way, people will understand.
I think it was a great point. Very interesting. I've only got about 45 minutes or so left for me to get to the stuff we had planned for tonight. So I'd like to do that because I hate to clickbait people. We made a promise tonight we were going to go over the reward and kind of the impact of that. Do you have anything that you might like to? Do you have any new shows coming up anytime soon that we'd like to mention or anything?
I'm working on this piece right now. I thought I'd share this piece with you first.
Awesome.
Because this has been one good part of the case that I've been looking at.
Well, everything in the chat also that the mob group guys, I guess, have whatever video they put out tonight. I haven't seen it yet. Apparently, it's great. Also, I guess it's the 3rd of this series, so check it out. Also, it might be helpful with that. But I'm going to have to get into this. Feel free to hang out if you like, but I'm going to.
Yeah, I'll hang out. Hang out. I love you guys. I'll hang out, definitely.
All right.
Did I miss any super chats or anything like that we need to mention before we?
No, just I think everybody's anxious to hear what you have to say about the reward.
I'd hate to get to the end and not get to it. So, so as we all saw on Monday, there was that gathering of voices, and partway through that protest, they came out and made the announcements that the FBI was now offering this $50,000 reward, which in our minds was just amazing news. We were thrilled to hear about this because in a lot of ways, this is the biggest step in the case since maybe the flashlight videos or maybe the news about them searching the garbage site. It's the first really big information that we've gotten about this case. So there's a lot of takeaways that we had from it that we wanted to get into. One is that the case is not dead. So, a lot of folks have thought that Sumner County had just shelved this, that the case was going cold, that there's no one been working on it. We are local here in Sumner County, so we do have people that we talk to. So we've kind of had a little bit of a home field advantage in that we know that this case has not been dead, that it's been moving along. That's everything that we have heard from people that we know. But this confirms that that's the case. How long the FBI has been involved, we don't know for sure at this point. We suspect it's actually been a while. So we started researching kind of like, what does this mean for the FBI to be offering a reward? This is not, and a reward in a way, I think is kind of the wrong word to use. Really what this is not, because like a company can do a reward. We have a local company that did a $3,000 reward. Some business people got together, and offered that. That's different. You hear about a reward like that, you think, well, will I ever actually get the reward? Do I have to take them to court? And, a lot of times these things don't even actually pan out and pay off, right? I mean, there were rewards in several other cases. This is the FBI offering a $50,000 reward. This is very significant, right? So what this means. So we went to several different places. When we don't know things, we just go to people that are more intelligent and informed and educated in these fields than us. So we went and listened to some of the things that Jennifer Coffendorfer had to say about this. And so this was actually toward the end of her latest stream that she did on Sebastian. It was actually in her Q&A. It wasn't even part of her planned talk. But what she said was that what this means is that there is an FBI agent that is actively assigned to this case. And what she calls that is it makes it a police cooperation case. So there is an FBI agent in Memphis with Sebastian's file sitting on his desk that he's working on. This would mean that every few months he's got to go to his boss and do a review. He might have 20, 30 cases, however many he has on his desk. But he's got to show his boss his strategy, what he's been doing, what he's been trying to do to bring this case to closure. And he's got to answer to someone for that. And of course, he's got all the resources of the FBI. So they're not taking over the case, but there is someone who has that on their desk, and that is just massive. She also said that for that $50,000 reward to have happened, it wouldn't just be because Sumner County wanted it or Seth asked for it or anything like that, or the public. It wouldn't have been, it would mean that at some point the FBI agent would have had to have gone to their supervisors, and headquarters would have had to approved it. So he would have had to approach, or whoever the agent was, would have had to have gone to their supervisors and done like here's what we've got. Here's our evidence. Here's why I think a $50,000 reward is going to push this thing across the finish line. So they must have made a compelling argument to their supervisors, or their supervisors wouldn't do it. These kind of rewards are very, very rare in a missing person case. Sometimes they do 5, 10,000, that kind of thing. This is significant. So another thing is that I think calling this a reward is almost not the right way to phrase it. What it really is it's the first offer in a negotiation. Okay, so whoever these guilty parties are, when they got this news on Monday, they received a signal, and the signal that they got from the FBI is, if you want a deal, this is the time to start making the deal, because we've got a lot and we're getting ready to bring the hammer down. We need a little more to finish this thing off. Who's first? Because the first person to get there gets the best deal. And it's a starting point. And so then I did research on how do these payoffs work? How do these rewards work? Essentially what this is they'd be like an informant. And I started researching stories on people that have been informants or have worked as FBI with informants. It is not a situation where you're feeling like a W-2 or you go get your check, your reward money. It's not like that. It is like they meet you at a park with a bag full of cash, or they meet you at Starbucks. There's your bag of $50,000 and you walk away from each other. That's how they do this. So there is anonymity to it if you've got good enough information and you're valuable enough to the case. Like if, say, you had guilty knowledge and were willing to work with the FBI to do it. So that's what this means. This is massive for this case. It was incredible news.
Nana's kind of ahead of us on this.
We were thrilled about this. And I know folks are like, oh, well, these rewards never work. And we're not talking about a reward. This isn't about a reward. What did you see? Did you see somebody change
wonderful
the tire?
news.
This is, it's time to play ball. This is your last chance. The deals get worse from here on out. That's the way they work. The second guy in gets the worst deal. Yeah, the FBI getting involved is absolutely massive, and I think they've probably been involved for a while. They've just been working behind the scenes.
Can you mention what the police officer we talked to?
Yes. So also we've got several friends that are in law enforcement. One of our friends that we know, we try not to wear out our sources with questions too often, but we reached out to someone that's a Nashville police officer, has been for over 20 years. And we asked, so what does this mean? We've been told them what we were doing with this, this show, told them about the Sebastian Rogers situation. For the FBI to be offering a $50,000 reward, what does that mean as a police officer? And what he said was, kind of wrote down the quote of the main part.
Yeah, because it was good.
They would only do this if they thought they had a target in mind and they just needed that final piece to put them away. And he said for him, his experience, it's very rare for the FBI to get involved in cases at all, especially missing people. But he said when they do get involved, that's the scenario, that they're almost there. And usually when they do these rewards, they wrap up the cases not too long afterward. So this would be another indicator that there is a ton of evidence that we just don't know about. Right. So like the FBI agent didn't go to his supervisor with a hunch and say,
I had to go through a lot of people to get to that point.
Hey, check out this YouTube video with the E family and their theory. And that's not what they had. They've got a lot of information. Or they wouldn't have been able to get this reward, not this kind of significant payout to make this thing happen, right? So we know that there's a lot of evidence that way. Also, back to the Coffindoffer interview, not interview, but her live stream. She mentioned, so this is one of those things that bothers me when people say that there's no evidence. There's no, people say this over and over.
There's another thing after this. Can you mention that many people are saying that rewards don't work? So after that.
Yes. So we know there's evidence also, not only because this reward has been offered, but also because of that dump site. You would Coffindoffer was saying you would have had to have had probability to search, that you would have had the agent, or the officer that was investigating would have had to have written up a form, laid out all of their evidence. They then would have had to have taken it to their supervisor. That supervisor would have to say, yes, this is good enough to take the resources to go up to the dump site. They would have to take that to the district attorney. The district attorney would also have to agree and say, yes, there is evidence here that we need to go search this dump site. They would have to take that to the judge. The judge would have to read that also and go, yes, there is enough evidence here for us to take to authorize the search of the dump site. So when people tell you there's no evidence, it's not true. We know for a fact there's evidence. We just don't know. We just don't know what it is. FBI is not putting Sebastian Rogers as one of the top 10 cases on their website if they don't have any evidence. They don't do this for missing people. So I think this time, sometime next year or so, we may be having conversations about trials.
Well, you were saying
that's what I think we'll be doing
on the back porch.
Yeah, I think so.
On the back porch, you made a really good point about the things that can be deducted from this, about him not being a runaway.
Oh, yeah. So right. So if before
my job is to keep him on track.
Hard job.
Before the reward, all of us would have had probably 3 leading theories as to what happened to Sebastian, right? We would have thought he either ran away, we would have thought he had been abducted, or we would have thought there was foul play, right? Well, we can now take one of those off the table, which is the runaway. He is absolutely not considered a runaway by law enforcement anymore. Mm-hmm. So we now know that he is either an abduction or there was foul play. So, like we're saying, we're always trying to search for truth here. So we are narrowing down and really through our own work and logic, we had pretty much, eliminated that as a possibility. I think we've all kind of been hopeful. There is still hope that he could be alive with an abductor. There are scenarios where he could have left the home alive. But the runaway option's off the table, or the FBI is not doing this to look for a teenager that's just kind of backpacking across the country and on his own, living somehow. They believe this also tells us that we know that there would be more than one party involved, and that they know that.
Right.
They've got targets in their sights. They know who their people are. Exactly who those people are. Of course, we don't know. We can make our educated guesses, but they've got a pretty good idea. So, I don't know how close these potential criminals are, to each other, how much they trust each other. I don't know how many people are involved, but my own theory before this whole reward came out, I've always believed we're looking at somewhere between 3 to 5 people that know what happened to Sebastian, and that's a lot of people if that's the case. And
What was it you were joking?
nobody wants to spend the rest of their life in prison.
I saw,
you know,
what was it in the movie? The first one to talk is the first one to walk.
yeah,
Something like that.
Absolutely. First one to talk gets the best deal. Everybody else, you know, best of luck to you.
Misty had a super chat, and we have a couple of new members I forgot to mention.
Yeah, Misty says, in my opinion, FBI offering a reward is to get one person to come forward and snitch on what happened. The person will have to testify against the others.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we also have a new member, Izzy Girl, and we had a new member earlier. I wanted to mention too. It was Terry F. Welcome, both of you. So we thank you so much. Sorry.
So this makes me very, very hopeful that we're going to have some resolution to the case. We know the Secret Service has been involved, and they do a lot of the, people don't know this about the Secret Service, but they do a lot more than just protect presidents and former presidents. They work in everything from counterfeit money to missing people and all kinds of stuff. They do a lot of that data tracking stuff for different agencies around the country. Purple World says $50,000 reward, 6-month anniversary, and KP and CP have no comment. I mean, I'll tell you, we've had some red flags with Chris and Cody. But when when I saw that in that Fox 17, I don't know if you guys saw this or not, but that Fox 17 report where they said they reached out for comment, and they did not have a comment on the 6-month anniversary of their child being missing, and the knowledge that the FBI was going to search for their child and put 50 grand on the line, and they don't even have like a thank you or this is such a great news. We're so appreciative of the FBI. Let's bring our son home. It's no comment.
Well, and that goes back to the thing we were talking about. There's a couple of things. I do want you to address the reward comments, but also that goes to the thing that we were also talking about this afternoon on the porch is critical thinking and using your critical thinking. Right?
Yeah. So, I mean, a lot of these things we're pointing out in a way. I know you're trying to lead me somewhere. I'm not quite sure where you're trying.
Well, you had mentioned the critical thing. I made notes too.
Okay.
That was one of the things that we keep saying is that the rewards historically don't help. But that's not the point of this. The point of this is that it's not about the rewards historically working or not working. It's about the fact that it's from the FBI. And that usually, according to our friend in law enforcement, means they have something. They just need one more little thing to get where they need to go.
Yeah. It wouldn't be just like a tiny amount of evidence.
Right.
They're putting up the 50 grand because they want to close the door and be done with it.
Right.
That's what that all means. According to people that work in law enforcement, not us. This is what Coffendorfer, this is what policemen that we know say. And really, honestly, just kind of logic once you kind of start thinking about it. I mean, he's in the top 10 on the FBI. It's amazing. It's amazing. And it's also amazing for awareness for Sebastian. There are people that go check out those things. We'll click on it, say, who's this kid? More awareness, more social media.
Well, and I'll tell you, this reminds me, Izzy Girl just put this up. It really reminds me of this in Kentucky in Bardstown. This case has been going on for years, and I've followed it really closely. But the FBI, as she says, the FBI reward gives hope for sure. Crystal Rogers disappeared. They have never found a body, but the FBI got involved, and they have now made 3 arrests. Still no body, but they have made 3 arrests. So arrests can happen without the body or without all the evidence that the public knows about. And this is a great example of that.
I want to catch this. Real Me Too said she was with yes, Seth did an interview that day. I was with him when he did it. I broke down. He was crying. Seth thanks the FBI agent for keeping his promise to him.
Right.
We had tears.
Wow.
Well, we both cried like babies when we heard it. Are you kidding? We felt a whole sense of joy.
Yeah.
We felt, I mean, you could feel it in the air. I was chatting in another creators channel last night, and I was saying that it's like something has lifted.
It is. Because we haven't known. I mean, I have always believed that our local Sumner County corrupt. I know that that's a popular belief. I've never believed that. I have always believed that they have maybe been stumped at times or not sure where to go forward, but the corruption, like all that stuff, I have not believed that. I've always believed that they've been working on the case, really just by their actions more than anything. But that there's an FBI agent assigned to it is awesome. It's really incredible news. And that $50,000 reward is just, it's a last signal. It's a signal flare to them. Hey, one more chance, because they probably have a lot. They might have conspiracy charges, different things of that nature that are not even directly related to the disappearance. It might be lying under oath, like in the interview rooms and the interrogation. There could be a lot of other crimes that they might start, ratcheting things up, making them uncomfortable. So it's only going to get worse for whoever these guilty parties are.
I think, though, for me, what I found the most interesting, I mean, yes, it was wonderful that the FBI is involved, but for me, it was the aggressive amount of $50,000.
Yeah, there's also something else too about the day. They did it on the anniversary,
right?
Too. I don't believe in symbolic. Yeah, I don't believe in coincidences. So I'm assuming that whatever they told Seth on Sunday, because he was upset because they had information for him that they were going to give the next day. So they planned to make that announcement on the 6-month anniversary. There might be actually other information. They may have another thing that they have told him that's not that, but I'm assuming it was the reward announcement and they wanted to wait till that day. Was that partly because of that gathering of voices? And
we don't know.
And this is where I kind of try to put myself in their shoes. Like if I were, I don't even know if it's Sheriff Craddock that's still the detective on the case, or if now that he's sheriff, he's given it to someone else.
I would say he's given it to someone else that it hasn't been made public yet.
Yeah. So I don't know who's actually running the case now, or if he's transferred that over yet or whatever. Whoever the detective is running it, they may feel like they can't just come out and placate the protest. Like they don't want to feel like they're bowing down to them, but they wanted to offer something to let them know that they're not, that Sebastian's not been forgotten. So they're like, hey, we've got this reward approved. Why don't we wait till Monday? We'll make the announcement. And that way, these people that are thinking we're not working on the case, they're going to get the message from us. Hey, we haven't forgotten about the kid. This is not a cold case. We are doing our work. And that can kind of serve multiple purposes. Not only do we now have the reward, but also let the people know that have been upset and doubting and questioning things that there's action and
there's movement.
There's movement,
And I think that we all kind of had a sigh of relief when that happened.
Yeah.
So
and Tiffany had a question a lot earlier. Tiffany, if you would just repost that in the chat, I'm having a hard time finding it, and we'll get to your question. If you could just repost it, thank you.
But what I was saying is, you and I had discussed, using your critical thinking. You have one person over here begging for the FBI, and one person has no comment. We kind of went through this whole thing this afternoon.
Right. I mean, it's like we hear a lot of wild stuff out there, but really, most of you really, the truth if you just ask the question and answer it honestly.
You could explain how you were talking to our son.
Oh, okay. I see. So the other day, our son came to us and he had a question. And
a political question, so we're not going to talk about it.
I'm not going to get into specific. I'll just give you a general thing because we don't want to do politics, of course. But he said,
that's a whole other channel.
I'll just say it in a broad way. He was like, why would this leader do this if they believe this? Okay. And I said, well, you just answered your own question. He said, what are you talking about? And I said, well, no, you're answering your own question. And he said, well, I don't know. So what's the answer? He got kind of frustrated. He's a very, very smart kid anyway. But it's just one of those things where he knew the answer because he saw the contradiction. He just needed to address that his premise was false, that there was a problem with the premise, not the conclusion. So he already knew the answer. He just had to discover it himself. So we can, and critical thinking is a skill you have to practice, and you have to teach it to your children. You can't just you just give them all the answers and tell them what to think, they'll never learn how to think. It is truly a skill. And so, like, if you ask yourself, why would Chris and Katie say no comment on the anniversary and the announcement of that $50,000 reward? Well, I don't have to tell you the answer at all. You already know the answer. There's only one answer. I don't have to say a thing or voice my opinion. You can reach that conclusion on your own. It's like the one we were talking about earlier. On the morning that Sebastian disappeared, why did Chris say, don't be mad, and not say something like, have you talked to Sebastian?
Do you have him?
Do you know where he is? He's missing. Okay. What's the answer? Like, you already know. Like, we don't have to pretend that we don't know the answers to questions, because we can use logic. We can ask Socratic method type of questions and figure these things out
On our
we
own.
may not know the details, but we can see where the problems are. That's why all of this about Seth being a suspect and things, it's nonsense. It's not if you're thinking. For people that are capable of logic, and have really investigated this case, that Seth is not an issue here. Every professional that's looked at Seth they're not looking at him anymore. There's a reason they don't do the statement analysis guys and the psychologists and the criminal.
They don't bother with him.
They don't talk about Seth, and there's a reason for that, because there's nothing there. Would a guilty person that had a hand in Sebastian's disappearance be begging for FBI involvement? Would they?
Right.
I mean, you can answer that question and you know the truth, because that happened. It's my daily deception detective plug, but he did a video on Seth early on, and he came to the same conclusion we've all come to, that Seth had nothing to do with the disappearance of his child. But he's on his website. He's got like a list of the 7 signs that a parent has not been involved.
Oh, let's hear them.
And so he's like going through these things. And one is, do you talk about your child in the present tense when they disappear? Which, of course, Seth did. Are you cooperative with people asking you and try your best to answer questions? He always was very cooperative and trying to answer. How about Chris and Katie? Are they always cooperative with those questions? Inconclusive. Has Seth always been somewhat inconclusive about what might have happened? He's always kind of said he didn't know. He's just said he hopes he's out there somewhere. Maybe he's kidnapped. Maybe he ran away. Maybe
right. He's driving to North Carolina because he thinks there might be a sighting.
Were Katie and Chris conclusive about Sebastian walking out that front door and vanishing? Right. Do they ever address the kidnapper? To be fair here, I'm not sure that any of them ever addressed the kidnapper. I cannot recall.
I don't think so.
I know the Proudfits.
Seth just repeats, I just want my son back home.
Okay. So it's a checklist of 7. There's one that, we're going to be fair to the process. I don't know of him ever doing it, but he might have. They ever addressed the child? I think both parties have at times in various interviews. And do they ask for help? Seth early on absolutely was asking for help. First interviews, he's got the shirt on with the face. It was a huge sign that he was an innocent person, because he's trying to be a walking billboard to get his son out. Because he knew he'd be doing interviews. He doesn't have to say a word. Help me. Here's my son. Here's the number. Here's his name. He's asking for help with his clothing. He doesn't even have to say anything in those early interviews. In those early interviews, the Proudfoots, I don't know that they asked for help without being prompted every time. Was there any kind of call to action? Seth in those early interviews always very, very much calling for action. Call TBI, do this, come help, come do the searches. With Chris and Katie, those early interviews, it was really always prompted. Like an interviewer might say something like, do you have any messages you want to send to the public? It's kind of setting them up for the correct answer, and not really ever doing it on their own. But anyway, it's an interesting list. And Deception Detective has tons of stuff like that on his desk. And the reason I just wanted to kind of mention that tonight is just that I'm sad for Seth getting dragged through the mud over and over. There's There's no logical reason to place him there. He's literally in a jail for 13 hours with cameras all around him. Passed 2 polygraph tests. Didn't have a motive. Didn't have the means. Didn't have the opportunity. I mean, it's just,
And I know you could probably go on.
I mean, you could just do it all day. You could do it all day. He's holding vigils. Would you, if you were
Also, they keep saying he's not searching, and we know for a fact he was searching on Sunday.
Yeah,
Sunday.
We have kind of known this. We just hadn't been able to double source it. We now double source it.
Yeah.
So we know for a fact he is holding private searches. And so, and if after Saturday, I think we know why they're private.
Correct.
No, rightly so.
Why would you do private searches? Don't you trust the public?
No,
you can't.
There's
not after what happened.
So there's a reason they're keeping this private, and it's a good reason at this point. But we have been getting information that's been happening,
But we know for a
until
fact
we have multiple people telling us, and so we know that there've been people out on the searches.
Could you look at?
I'm not sure. Tiffany was asking. I've done an aerial search close to second generation construction company. There is a campground and boat dock. Do they have surveillance cameras? I have no idea. We haven't been to second generation construction company.
Is that the one that's doing the construction at the subdivision next door, or is that somewhere else? Where is that?
I'm assuming, is this the one where it's kind of near a garbage dump or something?
Is this the one that's supposed to be somehow related?
Like out in Gallatin, I think. Is that the one we're talking about?
I think it's supposed to be somewhere else. Maybe we need Tiffany to clarify. So, Auntie, watch for her response.
I will.
Misty had I was going to say, go ahead.
Misty says, in my opinion, YouTube creator supporters helped solve Sebastian's case with the very little info we have. I'm going to say it for all of us thinking it.
Oh, thank you, Misty.
Thank you, Misty. And we probably have about 5% of what law enforcement has. So just imagine how much they've got.
Right.
In the
CB
bank.
is an office manager. CB is office manager for second generation company.
CB?
Do we mean Chris?
I guess it says CB.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with his work or anything. Just that he leaves sometimes for construction.
No, it's okay. Here she said, hang on. I keep clicking on it. It keeps going away. Sorry.
Okay.
No, it's the construction company that's owned by the Proudfoots in Gallatin, also close to the landfill. Yeah, okay. I know what you're talking about. That's, yeah.
But it's not the Proudfoots that own it, right? It's relatives.
I don't
Correct?
know. I don't know who owns it. But
we haven't looked into
I've
that.
Heard it talked about.
We can look into that though. Just do some more background into it.
For sure. So I'll make a note of it.
Someone's saying it's the friend, the Danny Guy person.
Okay.
Yeah.
We have heard of that.
Yeah, I mean,
but we don't.
It's a garbage site. It's a construction area. It is the kind of place, that.
And
if you were familiar with it, it might be a place where you might do something like that. Yeah, I knew. I just didn't recognize the name of it, but I know the place you're talking about.
Okay. I think that people were happy with the path you were on, so you can keep going back to that. I just wanted to acknowledge some people. You've got some more stuff. I know you do. He's got a giant yellow pad full of stuff.
Yeah. So we got through the big stuff. I wanted to make sure we hit tonight.
What's wrong?
But Auntie, I wanted to talk to you about
why we think the 6 months is interesting.
The timing, because this ties into the case you've been following.
Well, it kind of reminds me, we're talking about all this phone data. Supposedly there was this phone call. It could have been 3 hours. It could have been an hour and 45 minutes. And so one of the cases I've gotten into is the Alex Murdaugh case, and how they built a case around the forensic evidence that they gathered from the phones. And one of the most damning things that they got was a video from the son, Paul, that was murdered, his phone. Well, this happened on June 7th in 2021. And it took about 9.5 weeks for it was a computer crimes investigator to get the phone. The phone had gone through different hands in the investigation. So it took about 9.5 weeks for him to get that phone in his hands. So he didn't get it until August 13th of 2021. And the thing that happened is they didn't know the passcode. Well, you and I probably say, okay, what would a passcode be for a 20-year-old boy? Well, they went through a bunch of passcodes, and Apple has a safeguard on their phones that after so many attempts, it actually erases the phone. It'll put you on, a couple of times where you have to wait so long. But if you do enough times, it will actually erase the phone. So they did not want the phone erased. So they had to go through some steps and also meet with some people that go into, and new technology is being created like literally daily to investigate phones and the data from phones. And long story short, they had the U.S. Secret Service help them, but it took them until the week before the trial to get the information that they needed to show that Alex Murdaugh was actually on the scene at the kennels where the murders took place within minutes of the murders taking place. And he had lied and said he was sleeping on the couch in the home, several hundred yards away. And so it took forever for that data to get received. They actually had to wait on the technology to be developed in order to get the data from the phones. So I'm saying all that to say that sometimes data from telephones and what they want for them to show the number of steps or to show how it was moved, to even show the orientation. Like if your phone is like this and it's turned like this, they can tell how the orientation of the phone has changed, when the last time it was picked up, when it was looked at. And there was one time that was also another damning piece of evidence was Maggie's last time that her phone was picked up. The phone looked, the person looked at the phone did not open because the face was not recognized.
Incredible.
So
I knew they could do a lot. I didn't know they could do that.
Oh my gosh, it's crazy. And so that data that they can get from phones is very telling. And it tells me that it has taken a while to possibly get data from some of the devices. And I know even Seth was concerned, they'd had devices for a long time, and they can get the same information from Sebastian's phone, from Katie's phone, from Chris's phone, if they took those phones to do that. Now, if those weren't initially taken, all of them, then it may have taken longer. They may have had to been subpoenaed again. They may have had to take them to different means. Like I said, the Secret Service got involved with this case in order to make this happen so that they could get the data. And so, that could be why it's taking this long. And that could be why this reward has been forthcoming, but they needed some more pieces to fall into place. That's just my theory.
Yeah. It would make sense. So if it takes sometimes 4, 5, 6 months, maybe they got this evidence back. They're like, man, this is good stuff. Let's put out this reward and we can close this thing out. I think that's the timing of that makes a lot of sense. Real Me Too says, yes, they knew when Alex threw the phone out the window. Yeah.
And then
I watched that mob video. Is that what they call it? Mob crew? What do they call them?
I don't know. I like them though. I do. I like them a lot.
They broke it down really quickly, so you could see the timeline and then the data and how the phones. It's crazy.
See what Izzy Girl says.
Izzy Girl says, yes, they can tell how long Screensaver has been on so many things.
Oh yeah, and there's probably even more. With each new.
And so that in itself, you think about, say Chris and Katie both of them laid their phone down and had a burner phone, and they were talking on a burner phone. They can tell that phone laid dormant and went to lock screen and laid there, even if they both had the lines open as if they were talking. They can look at that data. They can get that data and see that phone did not move for an hour and a half. Or 3 hours or 15 minutes.
Field fencing that they can do to tell you all the phones that are in the area at the time.
Yes.
Also, Chris was asked that about if he had moved his phone during the conversation.
That was one of the questions on Lolly, I believe.
And supposedly he didn't. So can we verify Lolly?
So Lolly is a creator who had someone who had been communicating with Chris on Facebook.
Oh,
And they
okay.
had messages back and forth, but it was from his verified account.
So we've been able to see those with our own eyes.
I saw them.
Yes.
So they're
And she just basically read them.
are these in question to anybody?
Um,
As far as we know, we think they're authentic.
they
It-
seem
okay.
authentic just based on the responses.
Okay.
But I believe, I'd have to go back and double check because we consume so much of this stuff. It's hard to remember exactly.
The sourcing.
You could fake. I mean, you can fake messages with with some work, but
But there's been a lot of weirdness in this, so you never
you
know.
never know.
But
His response though was he's not the police won't let me comment on that.
assuming that those messages
are real, correct?
and
Right.
not doctored or whatever.
Right.
I don't remember anyone calling that into question, but I guess
You know what? We could go
Yeah.
back and watch it just to be sure. She may have verified in some way that it was him.
Yeah.
So we can't say either way.
But I couldn't remember where that came from, but I guess that was it.
But I think in more than one interview he was evasive about the phones.
Right.
I don't remember, honestly.
It's
I got evasive
Tit
about
for
a lot of
tat.
things.
If Tit for tat says he was, then I believe it because she probably needs her own show. Honestly,
I know, right?
She knows so much.
Yes. Okay, so he was evasive about the phones. Yeah, I'm sure that's right. There's so many interviews they do blur together somewhat.
But I do think there's data out there that can and will be retrieved.
Mystic Firefly, it's Lolly, and I do not have the link handy for that particular episode. I can post it in our community chat, our community tomorrow. I probably tonight will go to bed after this. So
Also, a quick update. Just wanted to mention if you follow our community page, Seven, the little girl that Mrs. E posted earlier today, she was found.
Oh, great!
She-
That's great.
no, isn't that wonderful?
So I'm not sure what the circumstances were, but she was found. So that's great.
We
news
just it
there.
was right before we went on. We found out. So
There were a couple of other things I think from Coffindoffer I wanted to.
Well, one thing with her, I don't think she has seen the car because she still believes that those lights were the garbage truck. And I think it's very easy to tell it's not a garbage truck
at minimum,
at minimum. Yeah. So I
Because
think
the reflection of the garbage truck's lights. That's what's even weirder because in those trees there would not be anything to be reflecting off of.
right.
Yeah, I
In that
don't-
area,
I don't
so.
know. I mean, some of her opinions, I'm not, but she knows how the FBI works, and so that that part of it was what I was kind of hoping that she would get into, and it was almost at the end of that live stream when she got into the really good stuff, in my opinion. What I was hoping to hear was
Mhm.
like how it works, and she did verify that you would have. That means you've got an FBI agent at a desk with Sebastian's files sitting in his little to-do box, and an FBI agent, they are, they want to move up the ladder. They're
Here it is
they
for
want to
everybody.
please their bosses. It's an honor to be an FBI agent. So they're gonna whoever that agent is, he's gonna be working hard to bring this home. Is this the name of the show? Lolly
Oh,
Beautifully Broken?
Mystic, thank you for letting me know. Yes, this is the show, Lolly Beautifully Broken with guest Blue Eyes.
Okay.
And actually, that is wonderful news too, because I was going to look it up on, I can't speak. I was going to put this up on our community tab as soon as we got off here. So that's awesome.
Oh, okay, good.
That's wonderful.
I didn't know this one.
It's wonderful. We like those a lot. Let's see.
What else we got here. So I think we might be through.
Mickey, I'm right there with you. I think I would have made a good FBI investigator.
I know. I think you have to be between, I think 37 is the oldest.
Yes.
Good
I made
check.
it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think the takeaway is that I just wanted to kind of make sure we were all, because I saw so much downplaying of this $50,000 reward early on about it not meaning anything, but I mean, other than just solving the case and finding Sebastian, having this level of FBI involvement is such wonderful news. It also very likely means that Sumner County has been working with the FBI and TBI willingly, and it hasn't been like this ego issue that they didn't have to have this case snatched for them, that they've been saying that they've been accepting all this help. I wonder
I wonder when they became involved.
Yes, the reward does mean everything.
We've got unconfirmed rumors about when that started,
Pardon me.
but we can't verify.
Yeah.
We'll talk.
You know,
We can tell you, Auntie, but we
can
can't
tell
tell
you.
everybody.
but not.
We've got some stuff.
a little while back, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a good thing.
I forgot John was there. It just scared me.
That's okay.
I forgot.
That's why I love your channel. You know, when you guys go deep and can really root out your research and give it to your channel, you guys are doing it.
Thank
And
you.
that's exactly what I do on mine. You know, other than that, you've got nothing else to say other than what you've done for yourselves. So that's why, you know, I am so subscribed with the bell on your channel, you know, because of the research that you guys are doing. You know, for the FBI to chime in right now, good move. It tells us something better than we know before.
Oh yeah.
They're on it, you
Yeah.
know. Going back to exactly going back to what Mr. E said in regards to, because you said a lot.
I did.
Yeah,
You said a lot.
he has had it. He's had it building up for days now. So
There's
he had
stuff
to get
goes
it up.
around on my head.
Yeah, you could have gone live 3 days ago.
Yeah, no, definitely.
But
To say what you've said, I'm in agreement with a lot of it.
maybe
You know, the FBI doesn't make a move, not unless they know something. To put out a reward can say that they do have some kind of evidence in their hands that they believe where he may be alive.
I agree.
I said, and I said, what is that evidence? And it could be his prescriptions. You know, they could be tracking his prescriptions anywhere beyond 5 miles. Go to the second point. They have expanded their search scope. That's what the reward tells me. They're going beyond 10 miles. They're going beyond 5 miles.
Whoa.
See
this?
There is an expansive outreach, if you will, regarding this search. That's what that tells me.
So,
and that for some reason they believe if in the midst of things, Sebastian is without his medication. So now you've got to scope down who would know about his medication. What specific medication could it be? They know that. And that would be obviously from Katie and Chris. What medication he was on at the time he went missing. If he was taken, right. If he was taken, someone would have to know something about Sebastian. That's what that claim of putting out a reward tells me.
Those type of medications that he likely would be on, they'd be tough withdrawal, so he would be very difficult to manage.
Right, exactly.
You know,
exactly.
I mean, it may not cause his life, but it would make him very difficult to
right.
deal with, you know.
Because they're not cold turkey kind of medications.
Yeah,
you have to wean off.
You got to be very careful about that. But
yeah,
I want to point out something here that we just saw. The Real Me Too said Nick Barris told me now officially criminal.
So
and
the Real Me Too was interviewed the other day by Nick Barris.
Right. So
spoke to him personally.
We know for a fact that they talk to each other. So if he's saying that, is he posting that on his Facebook?
I have no idea, but that's crazy.
So that means law enforcement. So, I mean, this kind of, again, it's what we've really known.
Officially a criminal
we've known
investigation. Yeah.
That's why, you know, I've heard, you know, when I hear what law enforcement says, in a lot of ways, it doesn't matter who's cleared, who's a suspect, who's a person of interest. Judge them by their actions. And when they were searching that landfill, we knew this was criminal.
Right. That goes to the second point. You know, for them to have gotten a warrant, a search warrant, that's key too. To go and search a landfill that's not even where Sebastian went missing.
A state away. Yeah, a whole state away.
Yeah, that's something else.
Yeah.
And that was a critical point in my investigation to say why the hell they went to Kentucky for this search. Someone approved it, as you started, Mr. E, in the beginning. Law enforcement got a search warrant approved to go from the house all the way to Kentucky to this landfill with the equipment and the resources that they had. As huge as the landfill is, Jennifer Coffendaffer, which is a former FBI agent, said on her channel in the last live she did, she didn't understand why it was just a short search.
Yeah, that's a good question. That is a good question.
Why didn't they take longer, knowing how they compile all of that debris the way they do? And you'd have to grid all of that debris down from the neighborhood to find out where the trucks went that morning, if they did leave that morning or the next day.
Well,
So that became to me a big flashing red light to say something left the house, possibly in garbage. Why? They went there under a search warrant. Why? Because they had culpable evidence to go there, to be there, and to do what they did. Well, now, hence, you put that on the table and keep it there, because none of that has been excluded in this case. You know, there is a possibility the FBI, putting out the reward now, believes in some way, shape, or form that what took place before is leading in that direction for them to get an approved search warrant from the house to go to a different state, to go to a dump site to follow garbage that came from that neighborhood that particular day or that night. Okay, so here we are with maybe a good reason why they came back with the reward. They know something. They're not putting it out there right now to say anything otherwise than what they've already done. They are on the case, as you said. They are going to make periodical updates regarding case review, because it's called case management. So, sort of like what I went through when I worked for HUD. We did monthly case management reviews to make sure that the grant we got from the state came through. We had a quota. We had a number of people to see in foreclosures, mortgage default, first-time home buying, rental counseling, and things of that nature. So I get the bureaucracy of when you have to deal with state and federal money. So that made sense to me.
Yeah.
Big sense.
Yeah.
So now you've got an approved warrant that goes to a landfill site in another state? Why would they go there immediately after he went missing?
Well, I think they were either looking for Sebastian or pieces of evidence of some kind.
Something. Now the glasses that showed up somewhere later on after the fact. We can't forget the glasses, which didn't really, pan out to anything other than they weren't his glasses, I think, at that time. But shortly after, a pair of glasses was found somewhere away from the house.
Yeah, there's been several pieces like that, things that turned out to not be, significant like that.
Okay, so you see where I'm going with this. Everything is what? Away from the house, not toward the house.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, landfill, another state. Glasses, away from the house. They're following a protocol past 5 miles where they started. They got the retention pond,
Right.
based on the construction site that's right next door. They checked that first, where that garbage went. They're still looking through those particular areas, whether we know it or not. They are. Whether we know it or not, they are. Because they got a warrant from a judge that puts them exactly where they believed he went to begin with.
That's awesome. I just a lady had a question here. Izzy Girl says, my husband that passed,
Yeah.
Kentucky State Trooper, and I can assure you FBI knows much more than every local police. Isn't
Absolutely.
the field office out of Memphis, Tennessee for
I
Sebastian?
agree with that. I
Yes.
agree with that.
And our understanding is it is the Memphis office. There was something I had meant to look into. I'll do it before next time. I think these FBI offices, they're tiered, like some are above others, like they're not all equal. And I think that's the way they work. So I think the Memphis one is a bigger office than the one in Nashville.
Yeah.
I think they're structured in in importance, and I think the Memphis one is like up tiered above Nashville. I might be wrong. I didn't have time to look into that before, but I think that's how it works. So I think actually Memphis running it is a good thing too.
Car Guy actually asked a question that we discussed earlier, so I thought you could just
You would
address
think
that.
Nashville FBI office would handle it, but the Memphis FBI office has it. Is it because it is so close to St. Jude's Hospital and Lake Horn, Mississippi?
Horn Lake.
Or
It's supposed to be Horn Lake, yeah.
I think that is possible. I do think that's possible.
But also, like you said, it is a bigger office.
Yeah, you always hear about the Memphis office just in like our
In
local
general.
news and stuff. So I think that's the way it is, but I didn't have time to look into it. I'll check it out before next time. But
And it could be that the FBI it was also put out by the public affairs officer for the FBI for Tennessee. She is out of the Memphis office, so it could just be because she's the one that announces it that it comes from that. That's also something we can look into because she's the FBI public affairs officer, media coordinator with the Memphis field office.
Mm-hmm.
So it could be that as well, but that's something to look into.
Now think about it. The FBI offers a reward, $50,000 reward for any information pertaining to the whereabouts of Sebastian Rogers. Okay, it's kind of tipping a hand in some way, shape, or form that this could be something that goes from state to state. Enough for them to be involved now with this kind of a reward, because now you can see where Sebastian lives versus the next state from his home. In that direction, in a circle, in a perimeter, expanding the scope of the search. Now, going back to what you said, Mr. E, about perhaps if he was taken and out of some strange, thought in someone's mind, they could keep him for whatever reason they wanted to keep him, hold him for up until a certain time. Something else changed the dynamics of the family.
Right.
We don't know. We don't know that. What we do know is that the FBI got involved, put a reward down on the table because the search has expanded. That tells us that it's not only in where he went missing. It tells us that we are not searching just the house. We are searching other areas of different places outside the state, like they did Kentucky. You see, now, where does your mind go when you hear that? Who in the family household would be capable or able to go outside of state lines in this case? Now, I'm not pointing any fingers in no direction at all, but it kind of says something to that effect, if you know what I mean.
Sure.
Yeah. But it's great. It is really good.
It is.
Nonetheless, that there's somebody handling this case right now, 6 months down the road. He hasn't been found in his state. No one has seen him. No one has heard of him. I don't believe the narrative that was put out. And this is what they're challenging. The FBI putting out a reward against the narrative that was told. Think about that. Think about it.
It's
just for a moment. For a moment. Yeah. Think about that. Or else why would they?
Yeah. They moved it into a new phase for sure. And this statement from Nick Barris really, he's been kind of like the PR guy for Sumner County.
At least
and he has been going, oh no, these people are not suspects. We have no reason to believe. There's no evidence. He's been the no, there's nothing to see here guy. So for him to pivot on the 6-month anniversary at the same time, it's like, oh, okay, now it's a criminal investigation. That's a huge 180 from Nick Barris, who's been very, very much trying to convince us that there was nothing to see here.
Mm-hmm.
We're in a new phase, and I don't, so I'm excited to see where this all goes. We're going to actually be probably wrapping up our live here tonight.
Yeah, but we need to thank Dreaming of Blue Skies and Sandy Beaches.
Yes, thank you, Dreaming. We appreciate you.
You're
so
very
much for doing
sweet.
That.
So we've got some of the best supporters in the whole world. Oh wait, not confetti. Sorry.
I do want to thank John for following our channel here and hopping up with us here tonight. And he does really good videos and breakdowns of different theories and situations that I've seen on his channel. Looks like you said you have one coming up here soon. Do you have a date in mind for releasing that video, John?
I'm working on trying to piece it together within the next 48 hours, give or take, because, like I do, I'm slow when it comes to doing investigative work on my channel. People don't like it. They want me back the next night or the next every other day, because they're used to following channels that way. Yeah. I don't handle my casework that way, and I've said that, if I have something to say about a case and you see me go on, I'm saying something. And if you don't see me, it's not that, oh, I'm gone someplace else and that's it. And he's through with the case. No, I'm still working on Summer Wells' case. Right. I don't have anything to say about it right now up until there is something of major significance from law enforcement that tells me that this is new for Summer.
Yeah.
For Summer, because they're the ones that are going to either pull the trigger on something or they don't. You and I can only sit up here on panel, do our our StreamYard, our YouTube, and make commentary on it. That's all we can do. That's all we can do. But to keep the story alive is important, and keep awareness alive of a story. That's our power. That's where we come in. And a lot of people are grateful for the work, good work, not the other stuff, but good work that we focus on. And you guys do that good work. That's why I'm here. And I support you.
Well, thank you so much, John. I appreciate you being here tonight. Just one last thought I want to kind of give on that, actually. Yes.
One real quick. Lolly had a question because I was in Brittany's chat last night talking about. It said, Mr. E, on Brittany's channel last night, there was an email or a letter read mentioning something about Sebastian coming home and would not be returned to KPCP or SR. It came from someone close, ? Lolly, I am actually going to look into that, and we'll talk about that on a future show.
Okay.
I want to confirm everything. Someone came on our panel with this information from a Narkid Divers
I'm
chat.
familiar with them. Oh, in a chat.
Yes.
Okay.
And so it was very similar to something we had received a long time ago.
Okay.
So we were going to talk about that later, but I just wanted to acknowledge it. We did see it.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay. Well, we'll look and see what that is. And just wanted, I mean, the thing is this reward, the situation. I know this has been a frustrating process, and it's been involved. It's been heartbreaking, the whole situation. But this reward, it is a reason to feel renewed hope. In this case, it was a day to celebrate on that anniversary, and I don't know that happens if there's not all of this public pressure from all of you that shared the flyers, that call your politicians, and follow all the channels, and do all those things to keep the heat up. I mean, do you think, I don't know, if all of this doesn't happen, if there's no social media out there, is Sebastian Rogers up there in that top 10 cases for the FBI? I don't know if that's the case. I think the squeaky wheel gets the oil a lot of time, and we've all been making some noise and bringing awareness to this case and pointing out the problems. And people are human, and they don't like criticism, and it's okay to criticize sometimes. People,
Right.
And they're human, and people don't want to feel. These sheriffs, they want this case solved too. It's a black eye for them until it's done. So I'm sure they would love to bring this thing home. And so I don't know. It was a day to celebrate. We haven't had a lot of those with this case. I know that means a lot to everybody, but just wanted to thank everybody for being here. Thank you to John. Thank you to Aunt E, and all of you that have hung out with us tonight, and all the awesome super chats and memberships. If you're a member, we'll be doing our trivia. True crime trivia tomorrow night.
I might do a poll to see if people can do it tomorrow night, because it's last minute notice.
Okay.
So we'll talk about that. Okay, but we're thinking tomorrow night.
So we'll do that tomorrow night. I don't know if we'll do a live after. I'm not sure about that part.
I doubt it.
But we might just do the trivia, and then we'll do a live sometime.
I wanted to say, Missy, Mrs. E, Mr. E, and Auntie E, thank you for having me on your panel, even if I'm the first.
Yes, thank you.
Let it not be your last. Thank you for trusting me. Thank you for checking me out enough for you to share me with your audience regarding this case. And I appreciate you all so much.
We appreciate
much love to the chat.
You're awesome. Thank you. Good luck with your channel also.
And make sure that to send everybody over. I know we put his link in there somewhere, but everybody go over and subscribe to John Q for great content.
And remember, continue prayers for Dolly. He looks like he's back home. If you missed that at the beginning,
Real Me Too gave us a super chat.
Real Me Too says, "Great live as always. Let's keep praying for Sebastian." And and that's the big one, right? So
that's why we're all here.
There's still two ways this could be. There is possibility for hope. Let's hope for the best outcome. And if we can't get that, let's at least hope we get some justice on these guys. So,
all right.
Thank you guys. We'll see you next time. I appreciate you hanging out with us. You're all the best. I mean, I love all the comments. And we
appreciate you guys.
And we'll see you all next time. Thank you so much.
And we still need an end slogan. Auntie says we need an end slogan. So if you could put that in the comments after the video is over,
Yes.
Give us a good suggestion for some for an end slogan.
The case is closed,
That's what he says. He thinks that's funny.
or the jury is out.
Yeah,
I
The
don't know.
jury's still out.
the jury's still out.
I'm not
That's
sure.
kind of cute. I like that. Okay. Well, thank you, everybody. You guys are the sweetest. I'm going to start our song now. Have a great
Right.
Thank
Thanks.
We remember you. We remember you. Ooh. We're still here for you. We'll shine a light for you. We're holding on to hope for you. We remember you. We remember you. Ooh. We're still here for you. We'll shine a light.